going against his former team. Now, you look at his numbers in July. He lost both his July starts, but he's been really good at keeping opponents in the yard here at T-Mobile Park. He's allowed a long mobile lead in his last 5 starts. And
what's going on, everybody? It's been a while since we covered a game, little baseball game. John here with you. It's a Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. How's everybody doing out there today? It's going to be the Reds and the M's. I got a good pitching matchup here. What do you think is going to be on deck? Let's get into the starting lineup. So, bench boss Terry Francona for the Cincinnati Reds. They're 45-54. They're 16.5 out of the NL Central, but again, that's one of the most brutal divisions that there is. 6 backs of the wild card, and we have maybe a week and a half for the trade deadline, so we'll see what happens with them, but likely to sell. Elly Cruz will lead off, play short. Sal Stewart at first, bat second. Bleday left field, he'll bat third. Eugenio Suarez, the former Seattle Mariner, will bat fourth. He'll clean up, play third base. Nathaniel Lowe, former Ranger, will DH, bat fifth. Noelvi Marte in right field will bat sixth. Jose Trevino will catch today in the 7th spot. TJ Friedel plays center field, bat eighth. And Edwin Arroyo, the second base switch hitter, will bat ninth. On the bench, you have Tyler Stevenson, Spencer Steer, Brian Hayes, and Dane Myers in the outfield. For the Seattle Mariners, the bench boss is Dan Wilson. They are a half game ahead in the AL West, 1 game of the wild card. So they need to keep pace and continue to win and stay in front of the Texas Rangers. Their lineup is going to be a little bit shorter today because no J.P. Crawford or Julio, either with injuries or not available today. They are on the bench, though. Cole Young is going to lead off at second base. Randy Arozarena in left field. Dom Canzone will bat third. He'll be the DH today. Cal Raleigh will catch, the switch hitter. He'll bat fourth. Josh Naylor, first baseman, will bat fifth. Luke Raley in the 6th spot. He'll play right field. Victor Robles will take the position of Julio Rodriguez in center field. He'll bat seventh, the right-handed bat. Colt Emerson plays shortstop, bat eighth. And Weston Wilson, because Brendan Donovan is still injured, and J.P. Crawford, go about him too. Third base, he will finish it off as the righty bat. On the bench for the M's, it's Mitch Garver, Buddy Kennedy, again, the J.P. Crawford and Julio Rodriguez, but they're probably not available, so it's going to be a short bench unless you need a pinch hitting situation if Dan Wilson thinks that he needs to. Pitching matchup today for the M's, it'll be Luis Castillo, the former Red. He's been a multiple-time All-Star for them. 33-year-old is a 3-8 record of 4.93 ERA, 137 WHIP, 48 earned runs, 28 walks, 81 strikeouts. His numbers are way down across the board. It's a primary 4-seam fastball and slider in that 4-pitch mix. Chase Burns will get things going today for the Reds. He is trying to win 12 straight decisions. He is 11-1, 2.54 ERA. The All-Star has a 1.11 WHIP, 29 earned runs, 37 walks, 118 strikeouts. He's primarily a 4-seam and slider guy. He does throw a changeup, but that's it and that's all. So you know what you're going to get. You're going to get the heat from the Reds. They've been about 500 baseball, but when Chase Burns plays, it makes it a lot easier for them to get wins.
Sal Stewart and these Reds were kept in the ballpark last night. Stewart, an all-star this year, 20 home runs on the season to lead the Reds. And Eugenio Suarez has been a down year in terms of a lot of numbers, back just over 200, a dozen home runs, a lot of strikeouts. Of course, the lineup and batting cleanup. For a Reds team that is now 9th in baseball in home runs this season, and they will be facing off against the Luis Castillo on the mound.
Well, in June, he was really revving up that fastball, pumping it in there at 96 miles per hour, his fastest of the season. And he was throwing it.
We're going to get into the play-by-play here in a moment. Elly De La Cruz will get set to take the dish against Luis Castillo. So we're going to get underway here at T-Mobile Park in downtown Seattle, Washington. My name is John Ott. We're watching this one on MLB TV for the Seattle feed, as you got the braids going there for Castillo and the sinker from this outside, and we are underway. So for Luis, again, as we talk about four-seam slider, a little bit of a sinker mix as well. Guys that are not going to mess around. They're going to throw strikes for the most part. And we'll see as this is up and away on a fastball. Elly De La Cruz, 279 as far as his average. Again, that was from yesterday, from my notes, as they were kept inside the ballpark. They got beat up by Seattle the other day. And a sinker at 95, Elly swings with it. And it's 2-1. 16 home runs, 45 RBI for Elly. His foot speed with the injury is down a little bit, but he still loves to extend. And once he can turn a single into a double, he can steal some bags. He's got 14. He's been known to get about 60 when he's right, but they got to make sure to keep his bat in the lineup. They need that. 2-2 pitch upcoming here for Luis. Feels good to get back into the baseball rhythm here, as a slider is down and away. Cal Raleigh, no way to frame that. It's a full count right away. That's Elly De La Cruz trying to get on first base. Again, as we talk about the Reds, 6 games out of the wild card, and this one is in and out of the glove, so that will mean that Elly De La Cruz is still alive here. And this will be pitch number 7. So beautiful start there for the leadoff man. That's what you want to do. Burn as many pitches as you can from the starter on the opposite end. Again, Luis Castillo should have no wits about him here as far as playing against his former team. He knows what they're all about. Elly digs back in, and another sinker will get fouled straight back to the left field line at 96 miles an hour. And we'll get set to do this again. So Elly off to a great start here. You got Sal Stewart on deck, and then J.J. Bleday, at least in this inning, will play left field today. Another 3-2. This one was right down the middle of the plate, and this is dead center field and gone! Elly De La Cruz touch a ball, and that's how we start the game. It's 1-0 Reds. Let me get Mr. Genji in here. So Elly De La Cruz off to a nice start, and the Reds take the lead. How we doing, Ian? It's good to talk with you. It's good to be back on a call for a game here. It's certainly been a while for me. As a slider right across the plate, it's Sal Stewart. He'll take a strike. 251 average for him, 20 bombs and 70 RBI for the All-Star. Again, they play in that bandbox Great American Ballpark, but still, they had 7th most home runs in Major League Baseball. As Elly is the one to get it started. Swing through, pitch there from Castillo, make it 0-2. We'll get the sign from Cal Raleigh. And a fastball up top and out of the zone is enough to get Sal Stewart to be enticed. It's a strikeout. That's the first out of the day here for the M's. 96. That one was a much better place rather than the one right down the middle. And we'll see what happens now. Again, look at it in between primary four-seam and slider. Sinker everywhere, change up a little bit down, and that one was caught too much of the play for J.J. Bleday, but Randy Arozarena, a few steps in towards shallow left field, will make the catch. We'll leave it up to Gino as the last hope at the top of the first. Again, the former M, he is not having the season. Again, he's kind of having the season he had with Seattle when he was acquired at the trade deadline. Now with a member of the Reds, that meaning low average. Still a little bit of home runs, but 12 home runs and 36 RBI. If Gino was really rolling right over the last few years, he'd probably get closer to 40. So, he's way down on his certain numbers. But again, another pitch right down the middle. This will be skied toward Luke Raley in a sunny right field. He'll make the catch. So Castillo missed a couple spots. Elly made him pay for one. We'll go bottom one. It's 1-0 Reds.
So, John, while we're in the break, did you just see the news in regards to the NHL?
What is Jason Robertson got his 1 year, $12 million bridge deal? I saw.
Alec and I were discussing this when the Jason Robertson news about the non-move to Seattle happened. We both agreed he shot himself in the foot.
You wanted to see him take that long-term deal with the Kraken?
Well, it wasn't a matter of want, but what we said was that with that move, he killed any chance of another team looking at him for a long-term deal.
Okay.
At least for this offseason.
Yeah, I could see that. You would think it does set you up for the trade deadline when that happens around the March time, which I know we agree with that. But yeah, I mean, you had a willing Seattle team. When I do get a chance to connect with Cooper, I know I reached out to you as far as when I get the date to record that show, we'll do so. But I got to imagine everyone there was disappointed. And I do think you make a good point because it makes you skittish to try to get a long-term deal done because you don't want to have a situation where you end up being handcuffed, especially $12 million is your bridge deal, so you're probably thinking 15 or 16 at least for Robertson when he gets his big deal next year. So Chase Burns will get things going here. It'll be Cole Young to lead it off 11-1 in 18 games, a .254, a strikeout rate of almost 30%, and a walk rate of under 10. Now, I have not seen Chase Burns pitch yet this year, so I'm very excited for that. He's primarily a two-pitch pitcher at four-seam fastball and slider. It's an occasional change of about 4% of the time. So it's a three-pitch mix in totality. But Burns, you know what he is. He's going to throw 100 miles an hour. As this one was not dotted, just a little bit below there for Trevino. Make it 2-1. Again, it was a couple of seasons ago now, but Ian Genji was with us in that space when Cooper Hopkins joined me at the deadline when they acquired Gino, and Cole Young hit a 480-foot home run, and this is in toward left field and will be caught by J.J. Bleday, and it's 1 up and 1 down to start the M's on the bottom of the first. So that is something that you think about. And when you talk about his numbers, I know we'll mention that more when he gets to the bat rack again next time through the order, but 100 games played, 256, 13 tanks, 48 RBI, 25 walks for the 22-year-old second baseman. So the numbers are quite good. And so is Randy Arozarena. 92 games played, 281 with 11 tanks and 45 RBI. So very strong, as this is a slider that apparently caught the black. And I think we'll see if we'll take a challenge there for Randy Arozarena. If not, that was definitely a ball at 1-1. So he's just going to like to let that go. That was a missed call by the umpire behind the dish. 2-1 now. As his fastball misses a little bit low. Burns about to throw pitch number 8. Terry Francona, still good to see him getting stuff done in behind the bench. You want to hopefully have the Reds win a few more games, maybe decide what they want to do at the trade deadline. Again, about 6-7 back of the wild card. Not going to do anything in the division where they are in the NL Central. They'll have some things to think about. 3-1. This is an obligatory take on a fastball toward the bottom of the belt. Make it 3-2. Dom Canzone is the DH. He'll be next no matter what. Julio Rodriguez is on the bench, but he's got the off day today, probably a little bit of an injury. And this fastball spiked way low, and Randy's going to draw a walk. So leave it up to Dom Canzone, 261, 85 games played. 15 home runs, 40 RBI. Most strikeouts in a single pitch this season, 80 on the slider, so that is your primary feature. 117 for Jacob Mizorowski on a fastball. What else is new for that? Because he tops out at about 104. It's a toss over Randy. Don't catch him sleeping at first, but that will be the obligatory booze. Still one more disengagement. You get 2 of those per batter. And Dom Canzone is going to wait on this first pitch, take a fastball. That was another one that was high, but Canzone in the first inning, and with Arozarena and Dom, are not going to use either one of those challenges. They would have won it. Average velocity on the fastball is about 98. Mizorowski is about 100. Another 2 miles per hour more than anyone else. That's also in the same category path as Dylan Cease, Jacob deGrom, and Braxton Ashcraft of the Pittsburgh Pirates. 1-1 on Don, and a slider up top. 2-1, nothing to think about there. Both pitchers here in the first. I know Castillo gave up the one shot to Elly, but spots have been missed here early. Not much to think about. 2-1, get the sign from Trevino, does Burns. That's a good swing for Canzone. That was 97 on the painted black, and you can only follow it straight back at 2-2. Cal Raleigh is going to be up next unless there is a sort of double play here. When you get in his numbers, you're going to have to sit down. They've been a little ghastly. This just splits the play with a slider, and Canzone's going to fall back. Again, I talked about this a little bit with Ian or anyone else that's mentioned before, that in between Cal Raleigh, you would expect his numbers to drop off. We're going to get into how much they have then, because it's just falling more off a cliff. 2-2. And another fastball down and away at 98. Not close. We'll see if Randy wants to take a couple extra steps on his leadoff with 1 out. Really just beginning things in T-Mobile. John and I are with you alongside Ian Genji. Thank you for joining me for this night game on a Tuesday. Full count pitch. Burns' challenge was with a fastball, and Canzone will fly right out to center field. And no problem for TJ Friedel as he makes the catch. So for Cal Raleigh, it is 69 games played. He did hit a home run yesterday, so he's at 10 now. And the update from my notes. And the 163 is probably slightly above. But it was not good numbers here prior for Cal Raleigh. Because, again, the average has dropped about 100 points. And this is going to be a step on the bag, and that will be an easy out. And the Mariners go quietly. 1-0 Reds after 1.
Yeah, it's no surprise. It's not really a surprise to me that Raleigh's numbers have dropped off. Maybe it's maybe with how much they have, it's surprising. But when you think about it, other than certain catchers such as a Punch Rodriguez or Johnny Bench or one of those catchers, you're not getting 50 plus or 40 plus home runs from a catcher year after year after year. I mean, Salvador Perez touched those numbers in 2021. He hasn't touched them since.
And to your point, Ian, and I think you make a good one, as far as Cal Raleigh, and you talk about Bench and Pudge, some of those other guys, yeah, they got some power. Cal Raleigh is one of those guys that can get you 50, 60, but he's not one of those that ever hits for average. And when you think about Johnny Bench, or especially somebody like Pudge, kind of helps you a little bit more, right, to be able to pull from all sorts of gaps and be a slap hitter when you need to and get on base. And Cal's really never been that kind of guy.
Yankees zone. Elly Rutschman has that problem. And a few of the Tigers have that problem where they'll hit bombs, but they strike out a lot.
Yeah. Kerry Carpenter is one of those you think about. He hasn't really gotten off to the start that he wanted. And last I looked, I know we'll talk about this from the bottom of the inning or whatever else, because I got to get your thoughts, because I keep hearing now that the Tigers, I mean, these are rumors, and we'll figure it out at the beginning of August, but it sounds like they might not have an intention of trading Tarek Skubal. I think that would be a mistake. Nathaniel Lowe, this is at the track in Randy Arozarena, just shy of the wall, makes the catch. Castillo's been hit pretty hard, at least with some of the contact. He's only given up one run, but Nathaniel Lowe certainly gave that a jump in left field. So I'll have to continually monitor that now, as Noelvi Marte, I believe at one time was a former member of the Seattle Mariners. And there's been a lot of Martes in baseball. Again, you think about Cattell as the preeminent, and then you got Starling as a member of the Kansas City Royals, former Pittsburgh Pirate. So again, part of that trade that brought Castillo there. So there is your change across for what we just said across the broadcast. So that's what helps me out. And the slider, this fall back, make it 0-2. So WAR since the trade, 9.1 Castillo. You got Arroyo, Marte, Moore, and Stout. None of those guys have even registered, or they've been 0.5 negative. So again, the Mariners, you consider they won that trade, and that was 96, not cold. Probably could have been challenged there for Castillo. I think 3 times could have had that there, would have a strikeout. Both teams have their challenges remaining, as we're still early in the ballgame, top second. It's a Joey De La Cruz solo home run to lead off the game. That's all we got so far. Fastball followed straight back from Noelvi. Jose Trevino, the catcher, going to be next. This one will be pitch number 20 here for the man in braids. Another fastball up top. And this will be toward first base. That's where Naylor is. He'll make the easy catch and shield the eyes from the sun. So Jose Trevino is the last hope, the former Yankee. 23 games played, 268, 10 bombs, 31 RBI, walk, 11 strikeouts for the 33-year-old. And Tyler Stevenson is another one of those guys. Good platoon, honestly, for the Reds. When you have catchers at 268 and Stevenson at 247, you really can't ask for much more, to be all honest with you. Sinker way outside the zone, takes Cal Raleigh up off the crouch and make it 1-1. Castillo's pitch count still in good shape, honestly. About to throw pitch number 23. Got the 5 outs, and the bat goes flying a little bit there on a sinker, but he sent straight back. Trevino's got to go pick up that bat, make it 1-2. A little bit of out of sorts there, slipped out of the hands there on a sinker on the follow through, and thankfully it didn't get a piece of the umpire or Cal Raleigh. It was clean above the head off the pole vault of that lost bat. It's packed house here at T-Mobile, and the Mariners are up a half a game in the AL West. Again, the Rangers, I believe, are in action against the White Sox today, and they're leading 9-0. So the Mariners are going to need to win today to keep pace, or the Rangers will take control of a half game at least in the division. Slider will be spiked in the dirt down and away, and Trevino working the pitch count a little bit for Castillo. He was up against it 0-2. He's driven it even now to 2-2. Get the sign for Cal Raleigh, got the glove low and had that change up, and that was way spiked in the dirt, nothing to think about. There's Trevino and Raleigh, they're showing on the camera shots chat pregame. give you some more scoring updates when we get to the bottom of the second. Reds done with their last strike of the frame. This one is off the hands, and it will be through, as Emerson's not going to be able to get there toward the shortstop side, and that will allow T.J. Friedel to get an at-bat here at the top of the second with 2 outs. That was a sinker in on the hands, and Trevino was able to get his bat just ahead of that to beat it toward the shortstop side. And it gets it slowly through the hole and enough for a base hit. So you got Elly with the tank, and then you got Trevino with a single. That's your 2 hits for the Reds right now. Short, cautious lead for the catcher, as you'd expect. That sinker is dotted at the top right corner of the zone, make it 0-1. 96 miles an hour. It's the hardest that Castillo has thrown today. It's an inside changeup at 1-1 will back him off toward the back legs. And Castillo now trying to throw pitch number 30. An average of 15 is not so bad, but Trevino give him the largest credit for extending this inning. Perfect pitch on a slider not called. And that is 0 for 4 on these challenges for both teams. Castillo could have had 2 for himself for strikes, and the Reds didn't take 2 in the other portion. So it was a dotted pitch that was called the ball. And now it's 3-1 as the fastball misses up top. Edwin Arroyo will be the number 9 switch hit batter at second. He's on deck. See if Friedel takes her on a 3-on-1 or if he swings. And nothing to think about on a sinker. It's off the plate. So single and a walk. And we'll see if Castillo can get out of this here. So Edwin Arroyo, 236 average, 4 RBI, no home runs to speak of. He's not the biggest guy in terms of the frame. 241 average here as far as my updated numbers. You're going to have those from yesterday. 18 walks, 52 strikeouts, and a changeup nowhere close. And we'll see if Cal Raleigh at some point is going to come out and talk to Castillo. At least kind of settle him down, because you got to make sure to kill this before you go to Elly de la Cruz again at the top of the order. So pitching coach is going to come out here to talk with Castillo and give him a breather. I think that's exactly what they need to do. He's starting to miss a little bit badly, and Cal Raleigh honestly didn't do him any favors by challenging a couple of those, and Castillo didn't like to do so either when he probably could have had a strike on him in off this inning 8 or 9 pitches ago. 10 strikes and 9 balls in the 19 pitches he's thrown in this inning. So umpire is going to come over there, and they're going to digress from the meeting on the mound. It is runners on first and second. You got Trevino and Friedel at second and first, respectively, with 2 outs. Reds trying to add to their 1-0 lead. Short look over there from Castillo, and another dive bomb changeup had to back away. It was Arroyo. Could have hit him in the back leg. Changeup he's certainly not locating right now. He's thrown about 5 of those, and I think 4 of them have been balls. 2-0 on Edwin Arroyo. Sinker. Toward Rosa Reina, he should have no problem, just shy of the warning track. Makes the catch. Castillo. Tight ropes out of danger. And the Reds leave 2 on, don't score. Josh Naylor. We do up next for the M's as we go bottom 2.
So, John, what you were mentioning before we came out of the break, the Tigers are not going to trade Skubal.
That's what the rumor is right now. A lot of reporting said that they don't trade him. And my concern, Ian, if you remember this from several seasons ago, when Justin Verlander was traded to the Houston Astros, they got Jake Rogers in return and 2 other guys that never made the major leagues. if you hold on to Tarek Skubal, you try to make a run at the playoffs. I think that's the best you could do. Let's say you get in, but you're not going to do much after that. Then what happens? Do you lose him for nothing, or are you able to sign him long term? Because you and I talked about that before. If you do that just to make the playoffs and you lose him for nothing, that's a catastrophic failure in my eyes.
Yeah, I don't see. I don't see the Tigers being able to catch up, especially because Boston just can't seem to get beat.
Right. The only way they were able to stop Boston today was a rain delay. Yeah, Boston is on that legendary winning streak. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this here. Again, they were supposed to be in action against the O's, but that one got rained out. And Boston currently has won 14 in a row.
Yeah, same thing with the Pirates versus the Yankees. Although even without playing tonight, the Pirates are in great position to gain ground in the wild card race, considering the Angels are up 5-0 on the Cardinals, and the game just started.
That's a bullet here as we begin the play-by-play for Naylor, and he will put this toward right field. We'll get an easy single. And I know we talked about this before, Ian, but with the position that the Buccos are in at 52 and 49, they'll get a chance to go against the Yankees tomorrow, I'm assuming. But at their record, considering what it is for Pittsburgh, we expect them to add at the deadline, correct? And that's a good thing. Luke Raley will watch a fastball fade in toward the back legs, make it 1-0. So you got Naylor with a single to start the bottom of the second here. John with you alongside Ian Genji, T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. Glad you could join us here for this late one on a Tuesday night. Big swing and a miss at 96. That was a good pitch, enticing enough on that bottom rail, make it 1-1. Again, for Naylor, when you talk about some of his numbers, he's not the fleetest of foot, but yet he's still got 19 stolen bases. He's very good as far as trying to make sure when to take his reads and looking out and toward those signs, trying to catch the pitcher or anything else off guard. He always credits that, especially toward the All-Star game. He mentioned that preparation toward his parents that will help him for a while, watching a lot of baseball. Here goes Naylor, and he's safe. Right on cue. That's his 20th stolen base. It gets just in before the tag of Elly de la Cruz. 20 bags. And you think if you watch anything for MLB The Show, again, that game is nowhere near as good as it was maybe about 15 years ago, but you would think out of 1 to 100, Naylor's speed's probably in the 20% range, and yet he can still get as many bags as he can because he just reads pitchers' moves. And a big swing and a miss on a slider. That was a woeful one for Raley as he punches out. And Victor Robles, he's going to take the spot of Julio Rodriguez, who would normally be at the top of the order. He'll play center field and bat seventh. They're showing some of the stuff, I think, in the batting cages on Seattle's side for Emerson. Try to get some of his thoughts. As Robles, again, big cut on a slider. Not sure what the M's are even looking at here. These ones are missing dive bomb into the dirt, and it looks like a ball out of the hands. I know it's a lot different when you're up at the bat path into the broadcast, but I'm telling you, they're not close. Pitch number 25 here for Burns. Takes a look at Naylor. Another slider. This one is a beautiful pitch on the bottom left rail, and all Robles can do is follow it straight back. So Robles, about 45 games played now, 210 average, just 5 RBI. He has about 100 points off his average from what he would normally be as a member of the Washington Nationals when he had no problems. This one's driven off the glove of Elly, and Naylor could not get a jump to third because he had to make sure that Elly didn't catch that ball first. So he's going to be stuck at second. But this will be a single. Elly tried to give us a play. This goes in and out of his glove. It looked like it was going to be dead center and then popped out. And for a guy as good as he is defensively, I think that's probably more tough luck than anything else. But the M's are going to take it. So that's going to count as a single, I believe, not an error, unless we get an update. And Colt Emerson, the lefty, will be going up against Burns. Just a 197 average. Again, but he's still got that prospect status going. He's only 20 years of age. And this is just game number 49 for Colt. 7 home runs, though, in a limited amount of games. So a little bit of pop there. Fastball outside the zone, make it 2-0. So Ace Reese is on the mic for the Mariners, the 2026 first-round pick. And we wait for the 2-0 pitch. Again, we'll see if they do a camera half and half. Right now, they're just talking with him in the booth, and that's all I'm seeing here. So hopefully they're not missing anything as far as the play-by-play, but I can only tell you what I can see. Burns steps off and uses his disengagement, and now gets to deliver the 2-0. And this is inside, gets a piece of the umpire. Would have been 3-0. Give everybody else a minute there to catch their breath. This will be pitch number 30 upcoming for Chase. Two ball, 1 strike count on Colt Emerson, the number 8 batter in this lineup for the M's. Fastball up top at 98, I guess was enticing enough, make it 2-2. Colt would have walked. He had 4 straight balls, but instead it's 2-2. Still only 1 out. Weston Wilson will be at the bottom of the order. Again, no J.P. Crawford or Julio today, but they are active. And this one is in and out of the glove and fouled. So Emerson going to stay alive. But Trevino still waiting on the 2-2. You got Jackie Robinson, normally as customary, retired there, but you have Griffey and Edgar Martinez in the numbers that they're showing. Ichiro as well. They covered that one last year. Big swing and a miss on a slider. It's the second time he was able to get that in the inning, as he got Rayleigh and Colt Emerson on that pitch. As he just kind of bounces it in the dirt. And then we'll leave it up to Weston Wilson. Again, J.P. Crawford was supposed to play third, but he was scratched, so that's where Weston's going to be now. Still have the injury to Brendan Donovan, who would normally be on that side. And I think Rob Ruffsnyder probably was sent down, at least to AAA. Had him at the beginning of the year. Slider way down low, make it 1-0. Wilson, 230 batting average, 2 home runs, 8 RBI. Guys that have been a little bit of a journeyman alongside with him, Buddy Kennedy on Seattle, so not much bench power. 1-1 as he swings through a fastball at 97 up top the zone. Castillo and Burns are throwing quite a bit of pitches here for the bottom 2, trying to get through the first 2 frames. And fastball at 97, make it 2-1. We'll see as Chase goes along in his career if he develops the 3rd or 4th pitch that he will go to. Again, because it's primarily fastball slider, and that's what you get. But for as good as you are as a 2-pitch pitcher primarily, that says you got good stuff. But if you can continue to add to it, I think that makes you even more dangerous. 2-2 on a fastball way outside, but he gets the swing and miss. It's on the left side rail. And see if he can finish it off right here for the first time in the order. Swing and a miss on a fastball. He strikes out the side in the second. So Burns does his job. And that is what needs to be done for the flamethrower arm. We'll go to the 3rd inning. It's still 1-0 Reds.
So I just looked at Cal Raleigh's stats. Oh boy, that average looks disgusting. And you said he only has 10 home runs on the season.
I think he got to 10 yesterday, Ian, with a 5 RBI game. That was the best game he had all year, but he just hit 10 yesterday.
Just hit. Jesus. Okay. So I have a rather crazy proposition for a trade for the Mariners that can help them out slightly with their hitting in the when it comes to their catcher. Because Mitch Garver isn't doing much better. He's doing a lot better than Raleigh, but right now it's still pretty bad.
Yeah, it doesn't say much, correct.
So this is the crazy idea, and it all depends on what happens before the trade deadline. The Mariners call the Royals and ask if they can trade for Salvador Perez. Barring Perez hits one more home run to break George Brett's record.
I think that's something that makes sense. I think if you're the Mariners, you at least want to upgrade that position. And regardless of what's left in his career, I don't think that's a bad idea, Ian. I think that's a good call by you.
Yeah, as for Alex to Pirates, I think the answer for the Pirates is pretty simple. What they need to shop for.
What say you right out of the gate? What do you want them to get?
That bullpen is atrocious.
So bullpen help is the primary for the Pirates?
Yes, and you can fact check me, but I believe the Pirates account for the most blown saves when it comes to teams in contention for the playoffs.
That is not what you want. And you got that right away, and you have to do that. You know it always comes as a premium, but I agree with you, especially for what the Pirates have shown you. You got to be able to hold a lead. It can't just be all on your starters who have been pretty good from what you've talked about and what Alec has mentioned to me. We'll see what they do, but you figure that's going to be on the top of the list. Elly de la Cruz will fly out to first base, and Josh Naylor are going to step on the bag. As we go through the second time of the order here for Terry Francona's squad, Sal Stewart. Again, we mentioned the all-star first baseman. He can play a little bit of third as well. Primarily infielder, swing and miss on the 95-mile-an-hour fastball from Castillo. So 41 pitches into his day. Sal struck out in the first. This one right up the gut. Snagged by Castillo. And an underhand flip to Josh Naylor. 2 up, 2 down as he gets a little smile on his face. He's going to try to exit this third inning rather quickly. So 4 pitches, 2 outs in this top of the third for Luis Castillo. And I'll leave it up last hope to J.J. Bleday. I believe he was the former Toronto Blue Jays. Kind of bounced around a little bit as JJ, but kind of settled to home a little bit for Cincinnati as well. 238, 16 home runs, 43 RBI so far this year, lined out in the first. Changeup, 2-0. And the scouting report right now, I kind of told you from a baseball savant that he was going to use that toward the low back left foot, but from the 7 to 8 changeup he's thrown, I would say 7 of them missed the zone, none of them close. And you're sitting on a fastball slider primarily. You see anything soft out of the hands, you immediately take it. It's a scouting report I can tell you here because you know you're probably going to get count leverage. Swing and miss on a fastball, make it 2-1. That is a good sinker on the inside hands on the black. Make it 2-2. There's really nothing Bleday could do with that pitch unless he pulled it out front toward the right field line. He wasn't ready for it. Eugenio Suarez would be next if Bleday reaches. If not, Castillo can get a quiet inning. And he got him on a slider. That was Castillo's best inning there, able to make quick work of the Reds. It's out the third. Still 1-0 Cincinnati. Will go bottom 3.
You got Lemonade Zero Sugar, full flavor, zero sugar. Full smile, intellectual,
Okay. So, if the Tigers are not going to trade Sungal, who are they? Who do they need? Who do they need to trade? A la expiring contracts, one-year deals that have done well. You know, basically whatever I can get for these guys type guys.
Let me look at this. Hold on 1 second here, Ian. I'm going to look at the Tigers roster just for the 40-man and jog my memory. Because, again, I know some of these guys are injured, but, man, Jack Flaherty just got injured too, my goodness. So when I look at this, for pitchers, I know Frommer's got the big deal, and he's not going to get moved, but he got rocked today. I don't think he got out of the first inning. But I would think one of those starters there alongside Tarek, if they don't move him, do you want to try to figure out what you're going to do eventually with, if you didn't think you were going to make it, Carter Montero? I'm not going to trade Troy Melton because I think he's going to be a superstar. So pitchers probably don't have the answer there. But Jake Rogers doesn't have any value, so he's out. Javier Baez is injured. He's supposed to be coming back. Do you want? I don't think there is a lot of value for Zach McKinstry, but he's got positional value. And Gleyber Torres would be my first answer as far as who they should trade because he doesn't have a contract after this. He would be the one preeminent. And then let me look one last quickly. So Gleyber especially, Kerry Carpenter's really not signed either, but he hasn't had a great year. And other than that, I don't see one because Matt Vierling doesn't have a lot of value either. So I'd say Kerry Carpenter, Gleyber Torres, Zach McKinstry, and pick a pitcher. That would be my guess.
Gotcha. All right. Next half inning break, I can go over the people that the Royals need to trade.
Please do, because I'm interested to know what you think about that. Cole Young was leading things off in the third, and he was grounded out the first. It was an easy one for Burns. Again, from what I'm watching for Chase Burns for the first time, again, he's got a good fastball and slider. We know that. Some of the location has been a little bit wild, but you'll get that from a young arm. And then the one thing for Seattle, have scored way less runs than they're normally used to, but they're the only team in the AL West that actually has a positive run differential. Again, coming into today, this will be minus a run. They're plus 20 right now. That's live, as they give up the one run Elly de la Cruz. It's the only thing we got one out in the bottom of the third. Fastball not close, make it 3-1. Randy Arozarena draw a walk. His first time out through the first. He's got 3-1 count leverage here. Pitch number 44 for Chase. And Randy, right down the middle, will follow it straight back. That is a dead center cut fastball at 96. It'll be sent back toward the backstop, make it count full. Dom Canzone going to be next. Again, no Julio and no J.P. Crawford today. And that is a slider dead set in the same spot. And Randy must have got frozen because he took strike 3 on the most automatic have to swing right down the middle of the plate as there is. But he'll take a seat. We'll leave it up to Canzone. This third inning is going quickly for both teams. So Canzone, you talk about that a little bit from the D-backs when he was traded over there from the, I think, the Geno portion. Finally getting a chance over the last couple of years to play full time. Last year he was closer to 300. This one he's still hitting 260. He's got power as well. He'll play a little bit outfield when they needed to, but he's the primary DH. The slider not close, make it 0-2. And Chase Burns is starting to cut through this Mariners lineup. He's got 4 strikeouts in the last 6 batters. Could make it 5 on this 0-2 count leverage. And this is an easy rollover to Edwin Arroyo. Toss over to Stewart, and the M's go quietly. Third inning went quickly for both teams. Still 1-0.
Just wanted to give a quick correction on that. The Canzone was actually part of the Paul Sewald trade.
Thank you. So the Paul Sewald trade part of it.
Yeah. But so as for the Royals and who they need to trade. Well, let's look at the 1-year contracts or the expiring contracts for basically anyone who isn't one of the young guys. Number 1, Starling Marte.
Yeah.
Stats don't really jump off the page, but he's a 270 hitter and OPS not very good, 663. Not that good. Maybe a player in A-ball. They're lucky high A.
Right.
Number 2, Lane Thomas. Now he could fetch a decent prospect. He 240 average, 750 OPS, 9 home runs, 34 RBIs, 5 stolen bases. All this and 60 hits out of 250 at-bats. So he's okay. He's certainly one of the best guys we got as a Utah player. And once more, if he breaks the record, Salvador Perez gets traded to a contender as a salute to you, sir send-off.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. Do you got any bullpen arms that you're thinking of?
Daniel Lynch to start off, and surprisingly, because it's been a little bit better, not really great because his ERA is 3.29, but John Schreiber is another name to look at.
Eugenio Suarez, the deep center field to lead off the 4th, and that ball is gone. A fastball at 94 that had hit me written all over it, and that's exactly what Gino did as Robles scaled the wall and couldn't find it. It's 2-0 Cincinnati. Did not see that at all since he was reacquired from Seattle, and then he goes deep against his former team. So that's going to be a little bit of salt in the wound as the former Texas Ranger Nathaniel Lowe gets set to keep things going, make it 0-2, and the crowd has gone silent after Gino hit that home run. Again, it's only 2-0, but considering what they traded for in the last year time at this point, and for him to do that one certainly hurts. Changeup 1-2 again, spiked in the dirt. Can't say it enough. 9 of the 10 changeups, 9 of them not even close, not finding anything there. When you can only throw a fastball or slider, you better locate. And did not do that on either one of those to start the game against Elly, and then to start the 4th against Gino. 2 dead center cut fastballs were hit out like they needed to be. 2-2 count. Low. Can of corn, and this will be right toward Emerson. In a perfect position, he'll make the catch. And now Noelvi Marte with that 6 will get things going again. Pull back up this portion of the line. I'll give you some scoring updates as well. So again, 2-0 in our game, 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 solo shots for the Reds. Got a couple late games going for you here. As far as the D-backs and the Athletics, 3-1. Marte will take a shot to center field. That's where Robles is. He had to go to a knee there on the sun to try to check that ball again, and he did so. Made the catch. So Snakes up 3-1, Angels up 5-0. Again, Ian gave us that update, so that certainly helps the Buccos. The Nationals are trailing by a run, 7-6 to the Rockies at Coors. The Marlins have been hot of late, but they are trailing the Astros 5-3. They're working their way back into the National League wild card at least. And when I checked it a few days ago, they were certainly in there. I'll pull up this on the live standings, as this is right to Castillo. Trevino, toss over, Naylor, and Castillo gives up one and no more. But we'll go bottom four. It's 2-0 Reds. And the Marlins are tied in that wild card with Pittsburgh right now at 52-49, and there's only 3 spots for that. The Cardinals were going to lose a game from the way that this is, so can't get any more tight in between the D-backs, the Pirates, the Marlins, the Cardinals, and the Nationals, all decided by 1 game or less.
How am I going to fight it? How am I going to take care of it? But I had to quickly learn that Parkinson's is only part of you. Just like having broken eyes, glasses, but with skydiving, I learned to play the drums. Most of all, I'm a father. I am Steve. Parkinson's is part of my life, but it's not the whole story.
We are happy. Stepping up to the plate in Parkinson's medicine for people like Steve. Happy, official pharmaceutical partner of Noelvi.
Yikes, the Cubs have 11 runs and 11 hits against the Tigers, and they already had to play an extra innings win last night when they couldn't hold the lead. And right now, Jake Rogers is pitching with the bases loaded against Justin Dean, and we'll see if he can throw a knuckleball maybe and get out of this.
Yeah.
Right now, Jake Rogers is third of an inning, 1 hit. He's thrown 17 pitches. Zach McKinstry's also pitched as well. So AJ Hinch has used 2 position players already in this game. My, oh my. So Cal Raleigh going to get things going here in the 4th. And knowing if that continues, this game might finish before the Tigers game does. It's 0-1 against Cal. He's 0-1 today. This is 96 and a 4-seam fastball. That one looked like he was on time, but followed straight back. Chase Burns still unblemished. Look back into my notes here as far as the Bucs. The Mariners have just 2 hits. That is Robles and Naylor. You got 2 solo shots from Elly de la Cruz and Eugenio Suarez to answer TJ Friedel's base hit. And that's all we got right now, as a slider is spiked into the dirt. So much like Burns' slider, Castillo's changeup, those would be the ones that you want to lay off in this game. They've been spiked and nowhere close. And I think Cal, he was close to going there. 2-2 on a slider, thought about it, half cut, must have held back across the plate. See if he can try to get Cal on that one more time. This time they go for a fastball up top, not close, make it 3-2. Count's full. It's a bat that they desperately got to get going, and the way that you can say it for Cal, if he starts to percolate, that could be as good as a trade deadline acquisition, as this one is in off the back leg on a fastball, and that's going to hurt a little bit. We'll need a couple steps to walk it off. This will be pitch number 55 once Cal gets in a bereavement. This one hit him on the left foot and it was fouled straight back.
You see Cap kind of take aim at his lower half the last couple of days. He's got a lot of bruises.
See what Dan Wilson's squad can do here is Cal Raleigh again will have a good at bat toward the left field side and follow it straight back amongst the camera crew. Got to watch out there alongside those lenses because that's about 4,000 a piece every time for those camera lenses. You want to break those. Another full count pitch. And he does not offer. So Cal Raleigh draws a walk. Again, Cal was one of those guys too. You talk about those numbers that have dropped off, and he mentioned that they were pretty bad, kind of gone into of the 10 home runs now, and a few extra RBIs, but just 37 walks, 94 strikeouts. He only had 2 stolen bases. Cal can usually get you about 20 backs. It's just doesn't have that going either. Again, you could talk about if you have any injuries towards your legs, that's where your power is driven, and that could be a big reason why the numbers are like that. Nobody would argue it, but still, when you talk about the drop off, you think about 60 last year, thought at least 30. You cut those numbers in half. Maybe you have something closer to a 220, and go from there. But when you got 10 home runs in comparison to this point, it's just not good enough. And it also doesn't give a lot of protection for Josh Naylor behind the lineup. You got to think about the way that continues to stretch out. Because for Seattle, they might need to make sure they add a bat or 2 at the deadline, if they can, because they usually do go for it. Naylor, this one toward end of the hands. It's going to drop in front of Elly de la Cruz and Friedel. So after a walk, Naylor gets second into the ball game, and the Mariners get the first 2 on the 4th.
So the Mariners got something cooking here. Now let's see if they're able to play small ball and score some runs.
Yeah, it's a right call from you, Ian, because you got Luke Raley here. Again, he does have 15 home runs, but he's a guy that probably wasn't going to be in the lineup today. And you got to find a way to manufacture something. I completely agree. Can't go empty-handed. Fastball way up top. Gets Trevino out of the crouch, make it 1-0. No outs yet here in the 4th. So you got ducks on the pond at first and second. Chase Burns in his first real danger at all today. He was clean through the first 3 innings. And a big cut and miss on a slider. He's got a lot of the M's to chase today early. Again, that is 6 inches outside the zone. None of these have been close in terms of that slider for Burns or the changeup for Castillo that we've mentioned. 1-1. Another slider, this one on the bottom black. Perfect pitch. And Raley was out in front. He was looking fastball. Really, with Burns, you can sit on 2 pitches. The same thing with Castillo, but it's easier to said than done because the velocity is enough to get up on you. 1-2. Another slider spiked in the dirt, not a bad idea. 2-2. This time, Raley lays off. Pitch number 64 upcoming. Grounder with you alongside Ian Genji, T-Mobile Park in downtown Seattle, Washington. Reds up 2-0, courtesy of a couple solo shots. Mariners got runners at first and second, and another slider, swing and a miss. Second time Raley's done that. I mean, by the time he's swinging it, he's hitting the base diamond on the bottom side. At 89, he was way out in front. No chance, miserable swing there. Raley punches out. Victor Robles. He was one of the only other ones that had hit the second alongside with Naylor. Trying to go 2 for 2 on the day. Be a good time for his first of the year. He's hitting 248. Nothing wrong with that average, though it's usually a little higher. Power has been non-existent this year. Slider, it takes all the way and make it 1-0.
Righties are batting 195 with 2 homers against Chase Burns this year.
So 195 and 2 homers are righties against Chase Burns. And Robles, here is a shallow fly. Friedel will take a few steps in, make the catch, and Naylor's got to stay put. And the M's are down to their last out of the fourth. It's going to be Colt Emerson. See if the rookie can get the job done here because, as Ian mentioned, runners at first and second with no outs. Try to find a way to get a small ball and get guys over. Can't do that now with 2 outs. You're going to have to take a big hit. Colt. First pitch, slider at 89. Just below the bottom rail, gets a swing and a miss. Take it 0-1. Chase Burns trying to get this done outside of 70 pitches through the first 4 frames. First 2 have reached, but he's about to get the job done here. 96. He followed straight back, make it 0-2. A lot of these have been challenged fastballs, but the velocity has proved to be too much. 0-2. Any chance to work with here between that fastball slider? Doesn't have to come in the zone if he doesn't want to. Challenges on the fastball again at 97. Again, because Cole Emerson's only hitting in the high ones. Still make it 0-2. First fastball was dead center cut. This one was the top left corner, but still had to swing at it. 0-2. Slider again. So you got middle challenge fastballs and the bottom rail sliders and the ones that go way down below the zone. That's pretty much what you're seeing here. 22 pitches thrown in the fourth. 18, 19, 11, and 22. That's your pitch sequencing for a mount at least. Good at-bat for Emerson. Another strike, had to stay alive there. Falls off the fastball at 98. See if here this future piece can get the job done in the slider. This was caught in between the fastball and bunched him up. Chase Burns gets a big strike out of Emerson. First 2 reach in the fourth. They don't. Nobody scores. 2-0 Reds after 4.
The only thing that Seattle is the only thing that Seattle is going for them right now is that Burns that they are in the 4th inning and Burns is already at or almost at 70 pitches.
Right. You're exactly right. That's the one thing. At least you're driving that pitch count, but that's really all you got right now. You said it right.
Yeah.
For me, it's not just about
And
it's about presence.
well, hey John, a little bit of sarcasm, but
I'll take it.
Tigers have scored 2 runs. Yay!
2 runs. All right, you got 2 outs in the 9th.
On a homer from the savior, Dylan Dingler.
I'm so glad that Mr. Dylan Dingler made the All-Star game. That was a really good second-round pick by Avila. You got to give him full marks for that. He's had a great year. He's got what now? 22? He's got 21 on the year. He's got a double and a home run. 22.
Oh my, hey, John. I hate to tell you this, but it looks like the Cubs are only going to be using 2 pitchers tonight.
That makes sense. Aaron Savali and Peterson. Yeah.
David Peterson and Aaron Savali.
When I had the numbers wrong there for Dingler, I was looking at it. He has 21 doubles and 22 tanks. I mean, come on, man. He's having a great year. And the same thing for Kevin McGonigal. To be able to do what he's doing as a rookie is extraordinary. I'll say this honestly, for as bad as the Tigers have been, it's not on McGonigal, Dingler, or Green this year. All 3 of those guys have been sparkling. They've all been all-stars. It's been everyone else on the roster that really kind of hasn't pulled their weight. Looks like Gleyber Torres was activated today. He went 0 for 4. Not going to blame him for that. It's been his first game in a while. So TJ Friedel, 891. Go ahead, Ian.
And meanwhile, the Nationals and the Rockies are having a slugfest. Why is it that the Rockies are arguably the worst team in baseball, and yet they seem to have some of the best slugfests out of anyone in the league when they try?
It can't just be Coors, correct? Because a lot of those games I've seen some of those ones where it was double digits in between them and the Marlins. I've seen them score a ton of runs too. 7-6 in the seventh. They still have the lead. That's a fun one there. Castillo going to get a little bit of words there with Cal Raleigh as Friedel. Ooh, Chad Fairchild got hit in the top of the mask. So they're going to go ahead and make sure that they give him a little bit of rest before they'll step back in. Friedel's going to walk today. He waits on the 1 and 2 from Castillo. It's only hit 175 on the year, with 3 tanks and 11 RBI. 1-2. Slider, not close, make it 2-2. Edwin Arroyo and Elly De La Cruz, at least in this fifth, as the Reds try to add to their 2-0 advantage. But as Ian mentioned prior to the break, that's a really good pitch there for Castillo. Not called a strike. That one was close enough, but it was a ball. That was called correctly. 3-2. That's a good take for Friedel. And he does another one on a fastball. And he will walk to first base. It's a pretty good at-bat there. A couple of walks for TJ as he gets a free pass in 90 feet. So Edwin Arroyo is going to be the next time over before the lineup turns over for a third time. You get Elly De La Cruz and Eugenio Suarez as the 2 solo shots in the first and the fourth. And that's all your run scoring has been. Dotted slider. Bottom right rail, make it 0-1 on the outside black. About to be pitch number 63 for Luis. That is driven right through the first base line, and Friedel thought about taking another base, but he'll scamper back to second before Emerson can apply the tag. So the Mariners on the bottom of the fourth had the first 2 on and no out, and now the Reds return the favor here. We'll see if they can have their lead.
And it's Friedel who ended up having to skip over it, and I think maybe that prevented him from going first to third because he's got great speed out there in baseball.
So Elly De La Cruz has an opportunity to do some damage. He already did some in the first with a solo shot. It was a fastball right down the middle to lead off the ball game. Right as Ian was joining me here, gracious, he's been able to extend throughout the entire broadcast with me is Elly De La Cruz. This is going to be tough to double up, and they're going to have to take the out at first. So they'll get Elly at first, but both runners and Friedel and Arroyo will move up a base. And Josh Naylor makes sure that he's okay. Had to get back down to a knee. He did take a courtesy look over to second, and then as soon as he got that into his glove and to get to a knee, he knew he didn't have time. So he took the out that he could at the first base side, and the runners move up to second and third with 1 out. I like that, though, for Naylor, because honestly, instead of trying to force a play and make things worse, it's only 2-0. You got to take the outs that you can get, and this will be another meeting on the mound. So it'll be a managerial visit that'll be used as Wilson's going to come out there. Sal Stewart is the next one up here. He is one of those guys that is a threat to make this a 5-0 ball game, that's for sure, with his 20 home runs and 70 RBI. And he's still just 22 years of age. You got Elly De La Cruz and Sal Stewart. And Edwin Arroyo, who I do think has a lot of speed. I know he's in the bottom of the order, but 24, 22, and 22 respectively. The Reds do have some pieces. Then when you got Chase Burns and Hunter Green, you got a couple starters there as well. So we know what the record is, but you could do a lot worse than what some of the pieces that the Reds have. Infield in. And Sal Stewart takes a fastball outside, make it 1-0. He's 0 for 2 so far in this game, so he is due. At least if you get a deep fly ball, it'd be enough to score an extra run. And the way the Mariners' offense could be operating over the year, and then without J.P. Crawford and Julio today, unless you're going to have them active off the bench, who knows? They're a pinch hitting portion. Three runs might be enough to win you the ball game outright. 86 on a slider, followed straight back amongst the screen. We'll do it again at 2 and more. Crowd's trying to get a little bit loud here at T-Mobile to urge Luis to get out of this. And a challenge fastball at 96. Split the plate and Sal swung right through it. 2-2. Wasn't necessarily get me over, but he's trying to get a strike here. Now trying to get a big out in pitch number 7. He's trying to get 2 outs in the top of the 5th. Long look in as Sal will get set on the other end. This is up toward the hands, and this should be deep enough for the run. Robles, as this will be Friedel. He'll get his touch. Home plate and the sacrifice fly and an RBI from Sal Stewart. Makes it a 3-0 ball game. So J.J. Bleday has a runner at third with 2 outs. Castillo, a little bit of fence post scoring here for the Reds. As this is Robles to his right, makes the catch. But the Reds do get one more. That's another big run. Sacrifice fly and an RBI for Sal Stewart. 3 runs, 4 hits. No runs, 3 hits for the Mariners. We'll go bottom 5.
So, in other news, Ian just had another round of firing for budget cuts.
I didn't catch what you said, Ian. Who had the firings?
ESPN.
Oh, ESPN. So that was Ryan Clark, from what I saw.
And another familiar name, Tom Pelissero.
ESPN is certainly not, and I know you guys are a little bit younger than me. I know Cooper would probably have shared the same sentiment as me because he's around my age. But ESPN is not what it once was when we were growing up.
Nope. And trust me, I saw a little bit of it when I was a little kid. My dad would have it on. My dad would have it on sometimes. So I remember Scott, Berman. There were a few others who were on there, but it was just sports.
Right. And it's hard for. Go ahead.
Be honest, Sean. They really wanted sports again. They just hire you, Alec, me, and Cooper, and we can just
For as many of these,
Is that more of just
Chase Burns signed
fortune?
contract and the incident that made him sign it again. So this is a pretty record-setting contract. It's the tie for the third.
you're bouncing in and out a little bit. You know, I don't know if I have to reset the space or not, but I agree with you in the sense of I don't think you'd have to pay us a fortune to be able to do all that for all the games that we've done together, for the professionalism I think that we have between the four of us. We can joke and do the things that we want to do when it's time to do so. If they wanted to have it be about sports, they certainly could. And Weston Wilson, this will be toward the left field side. That is where Bleday is. Will make the catch. Chase Burns has done a good job. This is his first start since that big extension that he signed, and he is breezing through the M's lineup right now. They have 3 hits sprinkled across, but that's it. That's all so far. We'll go back to the top of the order for a third time. It'll be Cole Young. Again, good to see this young and upcoming player over the last couple of years. You mentioned with Cole Young, that big home run a couple of years ago, and alongside with Eugenio Suarez, probably even last year, I should say, there, when Ian and Cooper were with me here when the trade deadline side happened, and he had that chance. He can run this infield with Emerson. I think that is the future for Seattle. Again, J.P. Crawford at some point will have to take his time into the sunset, although he's had a great career. But you think that's where the future is going to be. 2-1. Burns, they made him throw some pitches. Ian is definitely right about that. It's at 80 right now. The first set of 12 outs done. He's looking for outs number 14 and 15 here. 2-2 as a fastball. They followed straight back at 81 pitches. After Cole Young, it'll be Randy Arozarena. He's had a good day as far as walks and discipline at the plate. But you're going to need to start to find some offense. Cole Young had a good pass and a fastball at 97. We'll send that one straight back and we'll see catcher strain at 2-2. Again, you got TJ Antone. They'll expect to get some outs out of that Reds bullpen. Chase Petty, Emilio Pagan, Pierce Johnson, and you got your lefties in Brock Burke, Sam Moll, Caleb Ferguson. Probably going to see TJ a little bit, at least he'll walk that down, I would imagine. Full count. Good pass on a slider, and a great catch in center field by Fredo. My goodness. Had the fullback down to a knee on a dead sprint just outside of the warning track. That was a good pass and a fastball on the bottom left corner. That was stung into the gap. Just shy of 360 feet. And an unbelievable catch there for Friedel. That's a robbery. So Randy Arozarena now, thinking he probably could have had a runner at second if not for that TJ Friedel spectacular catch. Waits on the 1-0. Challenge fastball at 97. You think you're at the point here where Burns is going to start to empty the tank. He's at 86 pitches through 4 2/3 of scoreless baseball. But I don't think he's going to get a complete inning in the 6th. If it was maybe 15, 20 years ago, we could probably have a conversation at least of one more full inning. But for Burns, especially off of his extension, I think he's done what his job is needed to do right now. 1-2. 96. Make it 2-2. It's kind of topped out around 97, 98 miles an hour all day. Chase Burns. And he did not offer at that slider, thought about it, but strong enough hands to keep the bat back. Arozarena has already got a walk in this game, and he's leveraged another full count in 2 of his first 3 at-bats. That was out of the zone, but a slider. It was out in front of the bat, at least enough to follow it off. And the former Tampa Bay Ray will get set to dig back in again. Chance of Randy. Echo across the ballpark, urging him to get something going for the M's offense. Toward the first base side, and Gino is going to have to throw in off a stretch, and a stretch for Stewart. Rosarena says, I don't think he touched the bag. I don't think he did either. But let's look at that. Gino was able to take a stretch. Did they say Sal stretched enough? Here's a loaded throw, falling away. And yeah, he kept his foot on the bag, and the Mariners didn't get their challenge in time. Inning over. We go through 5. Reds up 3-0.
So, Chase Burns just signed 7 years, 105. And from this start alone, despite the high pitch count, he looks like he's going to be the next leader, the next ace of the pitching staff for the Cincinnati Reds. But he got me thinking. It got me thinking to around the early 2010s Reds. Because those have by far been the most successful iterations of the modern era outside of the Big Red Machine and the 90s. So I went back and looked at their pitching staff. Obviously headlined by Johnny Cueto. You know, he was their guy that they put in there. Well, actually, maybe not so much. But I was looking at the other pitchers they had. I gotta say, this is not a bad rotation here. Listen to this.
Okay.
You had Johnny Cueto, Matt Latos, Homer Bailey, Bronson Arroyo, and Mike Lee.
So runners out, call stands, and you're Ian. I like Bronson Arroyo was doing it for years. He was pretty good for a long time. Latos had a couple strong seasons. Honestly, he's not the worst pitching staff in the world at the time. But as you make the point now, between Hunter Green and Chase Burns, that is very, very strong.
Yeah, the problem for the Reds is they just can't. They can't hit they can't hit a softball.
No.
You know, actually, that's not. They couldn't hit a ball in the ocean if the water was right in front of them.
No. And I know Ke'Bryan Hayes was never the strongest hitter when he was in Pittsburgh, but I mean, he's at the point where he's completely unplayable now for the Reds. I mean, he's almost lucky he's hitting 100.
I'm actually curious. I need to look back at that trade of what the Pirates got for Ke'Bryan Hayes, because that, with as bad as it's turned out for the Reds, the only way it could have been, let's see, Ke'Bryan Hayes trade, they received left-handed relief pitcher. Okay, so really the Pirates didn't get anything because they got Taylor Rogers and a prospect that I haven't even heard of.
So not much.
No. But the fact is, Cincinnati also accepted 5 years of control on Hayes' contract. So, and he signed, and it runs through 2029, option for 2030.
Well, you know they're not picking up the option. We can go ahead and say that now.
Yeah.
You can write off whatever you do for the year, but for Ke'Bryan, he's still such a good defensive player, so you know he's got options there, but whatever they can do in the off season, the first thing he needs to do is work on whatever they can for hitting and try to get him back to the Mendoza line. He's got to at least hit 200.
Yeah.
you got to get me some power if you're going to play a corner infield. You got a strong glove and a good arm, but when you got absolutely nothing on the bat, I mean, he's pretty much swinging it with Swiss cheese holes through it. He can't start. I mean, he can't even come off the bench for a. The only way he would be in the game right now is the Reds are up 3-0. Let's say if it's the 8th or 9th, he could come in as a defensive replacement, but that's about it. So Eugenio Suarez is waiting on a 2-2. Again, it was a sacrifice fly for Sal Stewart, a home run for Suarez, a home run for Elly Cruz in reverse order as we sit at the top of the 6th. Slider, we're close at 3-2. Castillo's pitch count's in good shape, but he's a little bit, like I mentioned, the fence post scoring in the mix in between the 1st, 4th, and 5th with a run against. 96. That was a good pass by Suarez, but this will go foul down the left field line. Trying to get the job done here for the first out in the top of the 6th under 80 pitches. Sinker to the hands. And this will be Weston Wilson. Easy toss over to Naylor. 1 up, 1 down to begin the 6th. Nathaniel Lowe, one of his last times out, he got close to the warning track. We'll give you some more numbers here. The Tigers do get their 2 runs, as Ian mentioned, but they lose 11-2 to the Cubs. They're not going to gain any ground in the Central because the Guardians win 5-2, and they'll stay right where they are because the Rangers, 18-hit, 10-run attack, dominate the White Sox, 10-0. And the Mariners, if they lose this game, they'll fall back a half game out of the West. Astros win 5-3 over the Fish. The Royals get a 3-2 victory over the Giants. The Mets get 13 hits. They only score 4, but they shut out the Brewers. Padres win 8-3 over the Braves. And the Rays, holy cow, 12 runs on 21 hits for Tampa as they bludgeon the Blue Jays 12-2. 1-2, Nathaniel Lowe waits on that. A challenge sinker will get fouled straight back at 95. If you're just joining us at the top of the 6th, my name is John alongside Ian Genji. In between the X space and YouTube, it's 3-0 Cincinnati Reds lead. We know Texas has gotten the victory today, so if Seattle doesn't hold, they'll be a half game out in the division. Still waiting on the 1-2 pitch number 84. Another challenge on a 4-seam that was a sinker in the same spot on the top rail at 96. In that same spot, fall back. This one was on TBS. Max Muncy had a 2-run home run, and Robleski did a good enough job to fight off Zach Wheeler and win 2-1. Nothing on the slider, make it 2-2 as that got spiked in the dirt. Diamondbacks currently active in the bottom 5. It is 3-1. They have the lead over the A's. The Angels still have a 5-1 lead on the Cards as a slider is inside of the back foot. It was 1-2, make it 3-2. Nationals have tied the game at 7. In between the Rockies at Coors Field, that's top 8. And that's all your scores right now. That's a big cut for Lowe. And this is going to be Robles into a slide. Makes the catch. 2 fantastic plays. Had to run a long way outside the camera screen, racing to his right in the shallow center field. And Victor Robles on a slide robs Lowe of extra bases. He had that one like a dog across the carpet. He was putting that one about 15 feet in front of him. They got a lot of distance on that slide, full stride. And this is toward the first base side. Naylor have to toss over to Castillo, wins the foot race of Noelvi Marte. And Castillo does his job. Some good sparkling defense there for Victor Robles. Keeps the Reds quiet. We'll go bottom 6. It's still 3-0 Cincinnati.
So it looks like the Angels are more than likely going to pull off another win against the Cardinals. The Diamondbacks currently have the lead against the Athletics. However, that can change if so I don't know what Arizona's bullpen looks like.
They're going to need a little bit of help, I'd have to guess, off the outshoot, Ian. Again, the NL West is such a hellscape to have to kind of fight through. And, as we talked about, you got what? The Pirates. We mentioned, I'll go through this again. Let me make sure I look this up. Let me click off this Tigers box. So you have in the wild card, one more time, in the National League, you have the Pirates tied with the Cardinals. Again, that's going to change, as Ian mentioned. The Cardinals are going to drop a game. Diamondbacks trying to get back to where the Cardinals would be. And then you have the Marlins half out, Nationals game out, so that's dependent as well. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Cardinals, Pirates, Diamondbacks, Marlins, Nationals, all within a half game of each other, essentially, fighting for one spot.
And it looks like, even though Philadelphia is 10 games over 500, John, they are not the most consistent group.
No, they're not. They're also minus 11 run differential.
Wow, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now. In between the Cubs, I don't know if that updated as far as their run differential with the spanking they put on the Tigers. But yeah, Philly, 10 games up above 500, negative 11 run differential, 443 scored, 454 allowed. They have a good team. They have another guy in that you all know in Trey Turner that's had a miserable year. Again, like Cal Raleigh, if Trey Turner activates, that's as good as any trade deadline acquisition as you can make. But they got to get him going.
Hey, John, I need an explanation on something.
Sure.
So Detroit is 7 games under 500. How is it that your team has a plus 24 run differential?
They had spent a lot of the year beating up on teams and then losing one-run games. Remember you talked about it a few innings ago about Pittsburgh in terms of their needing a bullpen and blowing some of these leads. The Tigers have blown so many leads late, that just means you lose by 1 or 2 runs. So that's their biggest problem. So Chase Burns, we'll say it, his line is final. We were pretty impressed from what we saw there. He talked about it, but he went 5 innings. And he mentioned in between his pitch count, he was already in the 90s. Terry Francona wasn't going to go anymore. And now Sam Moll, the lefty, will go against Dom Canzone, who unfortunately fouled that pitch off his knee. We'll need a minute. Let me refresh my windows here on ESPN. So Chase Burns will give you his final line. 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Canzone still needs an extra moment. That's why we're taking a momentary pause. Because I'll write in this line for the story that'll get uploaded later. Spent my time a little bit in the mix with Ian and Alec as far as some of the stuff in the World Cup. I know you guys covered the final. I've been trying to get everything together for MIHL season preview that I got, moving from 6 to 12 teams. So I've been trying to get all those together. Canzone now ready to go here. Waiting on a 1-2. He's 0 for 2 today. And his sinker will be called on the first base line. So Burns official for the Recorder's side. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. That's his final line with 91 pitches, and that's his first start since the extension, and he was completely unblemished through 91 pitches. Cincinnati's still up 3-0 as Canzone trying to add to the pitch count of one Sam Mole. So the first bullpen arm is used for Terry Francona's squad. That is the lefty Sam Mole. They still got Ferguson and Burke as lefties, Julian Garcia, TJ Antone, Johnson, Petty, and Pagan likely available as their righties. Sweeper outside the zone. So after fouling that 3 pitches ago off his left knee, Canzone now working at a 2-2 after he's got a little bit of an abbreviated timeout. It's good at bat for him regardless. Mariners need runs, and they're starting to run out of length in the ropeway to do so. Not called a strike, and I don't think Mole is going to win this one. It's going to be challenged here by Trevino. Looked like it was low. Yes, it was. So Canzone still stays alive. Cincinnati has burned their first challenge as we're beginning the bottom of the 6th. So 9-pitch at bat here for Dominic Canzone. Did hit about 300 last year, about 270 now. So he can be in a deterrent at the bat. Inside. And it draws the walk. That was one busted him toward the midsection, able to back away. And Cal Raleigh is at the bat rack. He has tied himself now, as of yesterday, with a home run with Nelson Cruz, 163 home runs. Alex Rodriguez would be next at 189. You would imagine that Cal Raleigh, if he doesn't do it this year, he's going to do it next year. Swing, and he gets a piece of the changeup. Didn't know if he broke his bat. It was way out front. He was going for a grandiose swing. As Mole is the first, as you mentioned, out of the bullpen, about to throw pitch number 11. Dom Canzone has walked to begin the 6th. Cal taking a long look in as Mole gets the sign from Trevino. Change up low and away, make it 1-1. Walk in the 4th. Again, 163 average, 10 home runs, and 34 RBI. Again, he had a home run and 5 RBI yesterday. So that ballooned his numbers. Almost to the point, and I don't want to exaggerate here, where you could say about a 4 or 5% clip in a single game. And for somebody like him, that kind of tells you why the numbers are as down as they are. I can go ahead and update my notes again, but when you have a home run and 5 RBI in one game, to go from 9-29 to 10-34, feeling yourself a little bit, I would imagine, as the first disengagement is used, and that will drive Canzone back. Raleigh will continually wait on this 2-1. John here with you alongside Ian Genji, T-Mobile Park in downtown Seattle, Washington. It's bottom 6. The M's are down 3-0. That was a hit knee sweeper, and Cal takes it all the way. That was high middle at 2-2. And even the play-by-play crew for Seattle side said they'd be looking at something else. That is the understatement of the century. Strike 3. Not sure what Cal was doing there. And if he uses any sort of challenge, that is just awful. Because that is so far in the zone that would never, ever be challenged, even if you're Angel Hernandez. So Cal Raleigh punches out. And that was a miserable at-bat. It's going to leave it up to Josh Naylor. He's had a good day. A couple of singles. One was a soft single in the center field, but that's going to count as a line drive in the paper box score. 2 singles and a stolen base. One is average of 257. 0-1. As the sinker will catch the outside black. Sam Mole just trying to dance around. One walk here. Reds bullpen set up nicely through the rest of the game. See if Josh Naylor can break anything to that. And the sinker misses the top rail, making 1-1.
This is one of those classic games that really feels a lot like Saturday against the Giants, where Mariners haven't mustered much offensively.
Josh Naylor tapped the bat a couple times, so gets set to dig back in. He's kind of digged in toward that left side of that box. A little bit close to the plate. He's got a 3-for-3 day. Solid single. Will keep Canzone moving up 90 feet. Josh Naylor, 3 singles. Canzone at second. And the Mariners, 1 swing away from tying the game. It's the second time that they've had runners on the base paths. They need a big hit to come through. But now it'll be up to Luke Raley before you get to Victor Robles. Again, you don't have Julio Rodriguez unless he's going to start to get warm here off the bench.
Yeah, John, after that Cal Raleigh at bat, it is no longer an opinion. It is a fact. The Mariners need to trade for a catcher or a designated hitter of some kind, or someone who can play both. Because that right there, Cal Raleigh really needs some time on the bench.
Yeah, you saw that, right, with his challenge? I mean, what is he challenging, Ian?
I saw that, and immediately I'm going, look, for all the guff I give Salvador Perez as swinging an absolute junk,
Right.
at least he swings.
Right.
At least he swings. And he doesn't challenge stuff like that.
I mean, that was the first pitch was middle that he didn't swing at, and then this one is slightly to the left of middle that he challenges and punches out on. And I completely agree with you. He needs some sort of break. He needs some sort of mental reset because that's all that speaks to me at that moment. So we talked about this a little bit for J.P. Crawford and Julio Rodriguez in this game, whether or not their availability. TJ Antone comes in. We'll take a break, and it looks like Rodriguez now will bat for Luke.
Yeah. And the thing is, the Mariners right now have a chance, a really good chance. Well, I said that, but with Mull out there, his ERA was over 4. So that right there was a wasted opportunity. Antone is now a tougher customer. His ERA is at 2.17, which indicates that he is a tougher customer to get runs on.
Yeah, he's quite good from what we've seen. Again, any of the stuff on MLB The Show, sometimes they give these guys standout cards. TJ Antone's already had that. He's been pretty strong in that Cincinnati bullpen. This is a big leverage at bat. J-Rod's got to come through here. 217 in 29 games, 26 strikeouts, only 7 walks in 29 innings. It's about as good as it gets. This is a big time at bat. Julio Rodriguez takes his sweeper low, make it 1-0. Opponents are going to hit 0.97 against him with runners in scoring position. That sweeper is dotted on the inside right corner. Make it 1-1. Julio's got 14 tanks on the year when he's riding it closer to 30. Big swing and a miss on a sweeper. That was a challenge. I like that there. Julio a little bit out in front, though. Antone went right at him. 84 on the sweeper there toward the bottom left corner in the strike zone. And way outside on the sweeper there. And J-Rod didn't have to think too much about it. Again, he's batting 6th in the order now as he's trying to pick up Luke Raley with runners at first and second. Naylor's got a 3-hit day. Canzone's got a walk. Canzone at second, Naylor at first. J-Rod's going to ask for time. Victor Robles would be next. Again, Robles probably switched to right field. Julio would take center in the 7th. 2-2. Stays with the sweeper, had to fight it off. It's still 2-2. So Julio Rodriguez, he's getting a chance from the crowd here, urging the Mariners to get on the board. They got runners at first and second with 1 out. They're trailing 3-0. Julio, another sweeper, and this will be followed back toward the catcher's side. It's a good at-bat for him off the bench right now. Trying to keep pressure on TJ Antone. It's one of the better bullpen arms that we have in Major League Baseball. Thought about it, and he will step off and use a disengagement, look back over Canzone, and get the sign again from Jose Trevino. He's been going with the sweeper. What will he pick now? Whoa, a sweeper! That would have been a strike. Are they going to challenge? No! It's a full count. And now they throw the hand up in the air for a new baseball. And TJ Antone had Julio dead to rights. But instead it's a full count. Dodge a bullet there. Full count pitch on the way. TJ Antone get the sign. He shakes off Trevino a couple times. And now he's going to use his last disengagement. So now the runners can be free to go here. That's the one thing you keep in the back of my mind, because if you step off there and don't get, they're going to get another base. But they got to concentrate on Julio here. He hits it toward Elly. Diving play. Trying to set a double play. Has no chance. But Elly Cruz, great job to get this from short to second. Sparkly defense for the 3rd time today. 2nd time for the Red. So no double play. Runners at 1st and 3rd. And Elly, it's a hard hit ball for Julio. That was pretty darn good there, Ian. Didn't get a chance to get the turn, but no matter. Elly saved a run.
Yeah, Steve, let's see. Hang on, man. Trevino did not do his pitcher any favors. Like, I understand, don't use the challenge recklessly, but you're up 3-0. If you even think that 7 pitch is in the zone, challenge it.
I agree, 100%. I think both teams in this game have the challenges that they've used have been poor, and the challenges that they haven't taken have been even worse. Honestly, there's been 5 or 6 times I've said throughout this broadcast, it's not even beating a dead horse. They've all been different situations that probably should have been taken. And Elly Cruz, you talk about that, bailed out what Trevino just didn't do for his pitcher in Antone. 1-0. 1-1 on a sweeper now. Robles tried to make a good cut at it, but it was a really good pitch for TJ. Pitch number 11. Mariners threatening here, trying to get something across the scoreboard. Shows bunt, but able to send this back in time. Sweeper. Make it 2-1. So Canzone at 3rd. Naylor was erased at 2nd. It's Julio at 1st. I don't know if they want to run Julio. He does have speed. This one in toward the hands. And that's right to the mound, back to TJ. And the Mariners, man, oh man, can't feel good about that. They leave everybody stranded. And we go through 6. It's still 3-0 Reds.
That's my name. You betcha. And I'm here to tell everyone.
Yeah, I still can't believe that counted. I still can't believe Cal's at that. I mean, that was, oh.
What's it say? Great coverage, great savings.
That's just somebody, and you said it right, Ian, that's just someone that needs a mental break. I mean, I don't know what you're thinking in terms of not swinging at the first, but the second one, I'm trying to figure out another way to word this, because there's no way, in my opinion, when he went to go challenge that second pitch that was just slightly left of middle, that he actually thought it was a ball.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just think you do it just to do it. You challenge just to challenge, and that's all I can think of right now. The call that you made a couple innings ago after Salvi was going to break the record for Kansas City and then maybe move on, yeah, I could see that working out, and I could see that as something for a need for Seattle, because when they initially signed Mitch Garver from Texas, they probably thought they were going to get a little bit more offense at least. And then obviously you wouldn't expect Cal Raleigh to drop off probably about 45%, I would say, from the season totals. That was a given, but not 85, 90%. And they need some help there. And maybe they need a mental reset as far as for what Salvador Perez can still do for a pitching staff from time to time, even if he doesn't have to be a full-time catcher. Castillo's still working here, top 7, but he's got no run support. So as mentioned, Julio Rodriguez going to go to center field. That'll move Robles to right. So a lot of good defense there between left, center, and right. As this is over to third, Weston Wilson. Easy toss over to Naylor. They'll get Jose Trevino. 1 up, 1 down, began top 7. Pull this back up here for the Reds and Terry Francona's squad as we go to the 8th portion of the order. TJ Friedel will leave a couple of walks today, so he's had a good start to this game. 94 dead center cut. He'll take for a strike, make it 0-1. You got runs in the 5th, 4th, and the 1st. It's a sacrifice fly for Sal Stewart. Eugenio Suarez home run in the 4th, and a leadoff home run to begin the ball game for Elly de la Cruz. Castillo, this will certainly be his last inning of work. Going to try to get this done. It's got 8 pitches before he gets to 100, but hopefully shy of 100 on his day. 3 runs is not horrible through 7 innings, but he just hasn't had any help. And a couple of those pitches he gave up tanks on were fastballs that were middle. They were not spottable at all. So for those that should be hit, they were hit. That's all you can say at this point. 1-2 against Friedel. 2-2 as a fastball misses high to the top right corner. Nothing wrong with the velocity for Castillo. He's topped up as much as 96 on the sinker today. Fastball outside at 94. The count is full. Well, Friedel walked for 3 times today. Again, he's only hitting 175. He's got 20 walks now at 18 coming in. And that one too close to take, got to follow it straight back on a fastball. So TJ Friedel's done an excellent job in this game extending at bats. Castillo get the sign from Raleigh. Middle fastball will be shallow center field. That's where Julio is. Will make the catch. First 2 are expired here in the 7th. Edwin Arroyo is going to be the last hope in the 7th for the Reds. Still got a 3-0 lead, and their bullpen is set up nicely. Fastball at 95, nothing to think about, making 1-0. Fastball, sinker, slider, and the changeup has been sparing about 10 times already. Sinker is middle, taken for a strike, making 1-1. Pitch is about to hit the century mark at 100. As he's through 6 2/3 of 3 innings, 3 runs against. and make it 1-2. A 95-mile-an-hour fastball. All of these have been fouled straight back. Castillo's trying to finish what most likely is his day. Crowd will get to its feet a little bit there for Castillo. And a half-hearted cut. And Arroyo goes down swinging. And we'll go bottom 7. Still 3-0 Reds.
You know, a funny thought just occurred to me, John. If a batter who tends to get a lot of, who tends to walk a lot, decides to use the song "Staying Alive" by the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
And then in that first line, well, you can't tell by the way you swallow.
There's been a lot of that for TJ Friedel today.
Yeah. And so 7 innings, 100 pitches, 3 strikeouts, and 3 earned runs for Luis Castillo. By all accounts, that's not a bad stat line at all.
No.
Except for the fact that, well, your offense has been shut out.
Yeah, we're going to say this again for the recorder purposes, and Ian just mentioned it as we're hitting the break. 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts for Castillo. But again, your offense is shut out. It's 3-0. You got 9 outs to work with here. And right now, unless there's something, I look at that bottom of the order. I know what Cole Emerson could do in the future, but Weston Wilson, still thinking about J.P. Crawford and the injury maybe. But that bottom of the order for Seattle needs a little bit of a kick in the pants as far as getting their offense ignited. I know that would help things if Cal Raleigh especially can't punch that button enough, started to do a little bit better, especially in the second half. But I'm looking at that bottom of the batting order, Ian, and it looks a little weak to me.
It is.
So this is almost a sellout crowd from what I'm seeing on the camera shots, as Colt Emerson just fouled the first base line of Sal Stewart. It was a curveball. TJ Antone had to come in and help out Sam Mole. Chase Burns went 5 scoreless in between his pitching line. We just gave you Luis Castillo's. For Cincinnati, it was Chase Burns, 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, nothing earned. It is a curveball, make it 0-2. But TJ Antone seems to be a pretty good arm. He got a power fastball, got a good sweeper, curveball mix. His numbers, from what we've talked about, certainly dictate that. And this is an easy toss-up. Could have walked all the way over there, Sal Stewart, but customary to cover the bag. And TJ Antone does his job to get Weston Wilson. We'll go back to the top of the order. That's where Cole Young is. And the Mariners have 8 outs to work with here. They're only down 3-0, but the way this offense is played today and from what we've seen, it just doesn't seem like they're able to get that punch that they needed. They had runners on the base paths, at least 2 in 2 different innings, and they were both left stranded. And one of the ones, I think it was in the 5th, they had runners at first and second with no outs, and they couldn't get anything going. And that's when Ian mentioned a little bit of a small ball just to get somebody over, maybe get a sacrifice fly, get something going, and the Mariners couldn't do that either. Big swing and a miss on a sweeper at 82, and he was way out in front. And Weston Wilson is the same count of what he is today, 0-2. It's about to be pitch number 18 for TJ Antone. John Hunter with you alongside Ian Genji at T-Mobile Park in downtown Seattle, Washington. Sweeper again, trying to extend the plate a little bit to see if Weston would offer. He does not. They give him 1-2. Inside sweeper would have been in the bottom black. And Wilson, at least quick enough to fight it off, had to swing a little bit early just in case you're anticipating the fastball. And I know again, I can't say that's not even just a cerebral palsy. We're calling as many games and all the things and doing things we've done. You always want to be on time for the fastballs. So usually with those off-speed pitches, try to pull those early down the line because you just can't get beat by velocity because everybody's got it nowadays. Another sweeper. This one was directly toward the middle. Fouled on the first base line again. So they've used Mole and they've used Antone. Switch back up to the order here. That'll be Cole Young after Wilson's done. Big swing for Wilson. He drives it out of here. The Mariners get on the board. A sweeper that was middle. And his third home run of the year is enough to give the Mariners a 2-run deficit now. It's 3-1. He got all of that one, and he deposited it in the left field.
Well, right now, all of Seattle is saying the same thing. Wilson! Wilson!
They are, because that was a sweeper middle, and he got all of it right on the bat head, dead center cut. Couldn't hit that one much better. Wilson gets a solo shot, his third of the year, and Seattle now only down 2 runs. See what Cole Young can do. He's certainly got some power in his bat. And we'll see if TJ starts to mix in a little more fastballs. But again, that was a sweeper at 81 that was dead center cut. And it just hung toward the fat part of the plate. He had to hit it hard, and he did. Cole Young at 88. Again, he's sticking with the off-speed pitches as Antone. That one slider in closer to the hands. That's where it's wanted to be. As Castillo now starting to get up and walk around. I can't imagine that he would be back out in the 8th, but at least he's going to get some run support. Seattle can do a little bit more. He wouldn't be on hook for the loss. Good take there for Cole. He's 0 for 3 today. His sweeper misses low in the dirt, make it 2-2. TJ is throwing a lot of pitches at this point. Went to throw pitch number 26. He had to come on in relief of Mole. This is out in front. Stewart, easy toss over to Antone. Second time he's had to do that in the 7th inning. He will get another out as he covered first. And we'll leave it up to Randy Arozarena. That's pretty cool for Seattle. Alumni Home Run Derby night. Post-game featuring Ichiro and other former Mariners sluggers. August 7th versus the Rays. That's actually a pretty cool promo. Honestly, I'm a little jealous. I'd like to go to that one.
Well, if we're talking about Seattle sluggers, you're probably going to see Edgar Martinez, most likely.
Edgar Martinez, Ken Griffey Jr., Ichiro. You're going to see probably Jay Buhner. A lot of other guys that are definitely capable of hitting some home runs. Maybe Richie Sexton. Just saying those off the top of my head.
Yep.
Arozarena on the bottom left rail. That was awfully close. Seattle does not want to burn another challenge. Brock Burke going to get things going. That'll be the second lefty that they elect to use today. Arozarena is a home run threat. Late back off as the pitch was already delivered by Antone. And are they going to give that to him or no? So this is just going to be a waste of a challenge because of the back off. So Cincinnati wasted 2 of those. Arozarena got a late timeout call, and then they elected to burn a challenge. So 3-0 against Arozarena. Probably got to take one here if you're Randy, unless it's middle. We'll do so. Since Cincinnati's got no more challenges, that was a walk anyway. Randy Arozarena gets first. And now that'll take Terry Francona out of the dugout. So Brock Burke going to get set to come in here. And Seattle got a runner at first. We'll step aside. 2 outs, bottom 7. Seattle down a couple runs.
Don't worry. You've got Pen and Make Zero Sugar. Full flavor, zero sugar. Full smile and zero actual nutrition.
we don't like to make assumptions on what people are thinking, but I think it's safe to say that that Francona did not want to have to go to another relief pitcher in this inning, because if you look at Burke's ERA, his is worse than Antone's.
So it'll be something that we will watch for, and I agree with you. I don't think for the amount of pitches that TJ was starting to throw, he didn't want to go to it, Ian, but you kind of had to. It looked like he was starting to lose it a little bit.
What motivated me to fight was the children, and I'm not a quitter. Little things that I appreciate are a phone call from my mother or an interruption from my daughter. I feel like cancer has helped me find out what is important. I am Tammy. Ovarian cancer does not define me. We are happy. Stepping up to the plate in cancer medicine for people like
So this is not a final line yet on TJ, but again, we mentioned it for Castillo. For Mole, it is a third of an inning, 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. His line is done. TJ Antone's responsible for a Rosarena at first. He's 1 1/3 inning, 1 earned run, 1 walk, courtesy of the Weston Wilson home run. As we sit bottom 7. So in noon start Pacific, that'll be 3 Eastern for me, 2 Central. Emerson Hancock going to take on the former Royal, Brady Singer. What do you remember of Brady Singer, Mr. Genji? Dom Canzone going to get set to take on Brock Burke. Lefty in between both sides in the splits. 2.89 ERA, 46 and 2/3 innings, 40 walks, 27 strikeouts. So the sweeper slider has been the pitch of the day between everybody in the Reds dugout. Canzone 0 for 2. Rosarena at first with the walk. Toward the dome of Canzone, we'll have to back him away. Make it 1-1. Someone threw a softball out toward the warning track, so had to go ahead and pick one of those beach balls. You normally have your hands up and gets the crowd excited. They took a step out just to clear that out toward center field. Waiting on the 1-1. Spiked in the dirt on the fastball. So Canzone has count leverage here at 2-1. Seattle got 1 run in. If they get a home run here, they'll tie this game. Cal Raleigh would be next, and that is probably the last guy that Seattle wants, as they continually throw this floating baseball into center field, and that's going to force everybody else to do that again. I imagine you said a third time somebody get kicked out. So Canzone will dig back in on a 2-1. Again, he already had count leverage before when he got hit in toward the knee and then still worked the walk. Now this one up high, so all of his at-bats have been a little interesting. Had to take a pitch, end up feeling like he was about to get hit, and then get fouled off, draw a walk, and then get 3-1 count leverage. And the next at-bat might draw a walk, but still 0 for 2 today, still with 2 outs. This gets away, and since it gets away and it's an automatic walk anyway, Rosarena gets second. And I would have to think, I know I don't need to say this for Ian, but considering for Canzone he's much more of a danger and Cal Raleigh hasn't done much, that they probably don't have any problem going against Cal here. But this is the time now with runners at first and second and 2 outs. If you want a big go-ahead hit, you had 5 RBI last night with a home run. Try to get another home run here and 3 RBI, you have yourself quite a week. So Cal Raleigh, runners at first and second, 2 outs, couple of walks. Here's Burke, 96 down the right field line, foul, make it 0-1. Good pass at that fastball and a good located one for Brock Burke, former Chicago Cub. 162 average for Cal. 97 in the hands, and he went right after it. Again, last time looking, he looked at 2 pitches for strikes. One he definitely should have hit. Then one he challenged just for an obligatory reason, I would have to imagine, that he punched out on. Waiting on the 0-2. Burke trying to get out of it. Set up low, and Cal doesn't bite. Make it 1-2. Get a home run for Weston Wilson and a couple of walks. Canzone and a Rosarena. 2 outs in the bottom 7. Cal able to keep the hands back on the bat. Make it 2-2. Josh Naylor's 3 for 3 today, so you don't want to get him with the bases loaded. You got to get Cal right here. I know that'd be funny to say last year, but last year's not this year. Pitch clock down to 2. And Burke is going to grab the rosin bag and think about it. Get the sign in from Trevino. Big leverage at bat. Down in the dirt. Good block for Jose. Runner's got a hold. Full count. Runners are first and second with 2 outs, so they'll be off with the pitch. Single certainly scores 1. If not, you got Josh Naylor next if Cal can reach. Full count pitch on its way. And this is popped up foul. We'll do it again.
I was going to say, John, if you're Burke, to be honest, this would be the best hitter to have to get a final out.
That's what I said. I think the same thing. You don't want to face Naylor here at this point. I know it'd be lefty-lefty and you have the hand leverage, but Naylor has been 3 for 3 in this game. Full count for the second time. And he walked Cal, and the bases are loaded with 2 outs. 3 straight walks.
This just got interesting, John. This just got interesting.
You had Colt Emerson out, Weston Wilson home run. It's a first base out for Young, and then walks of Rosarena, Canzone, and Raleigh in this inning. And that is why it's bases loaded, 2 outs. Josh Naylor, single, could score 2. And they're going to need to make sure they figure out whatever the hell they want to do here, the Reds, in terms of Josh Naylor. He's 3 for 3, and it wouldn't surprise me if he goes 4 for 4. He has nights where he can absolutely go off. We've seen that in between the Guardians, Diamondbacks, and with Seattle. He's a very good ball player. Not close on a slider. Make it 1-0. My jersey is very dirty, and it's going to get even more so should he drive in a couple of runs here. He's already got a stolen base and 3 hits. And time called for Brock. A lot of grabs of that rosin bag. It is big measure of the moment here. Seattle's been waiting for anything to have these fans explode and be excited. Now it's a bunch of nervous energy. 1-0 count. What's he go with here? Swing and a miss on a slider outside the zone. Naylor got a little bit too big. Make it 1-1. That's what I was wondering. Are you going to go fastball or are you going to go off speed? And a lot of this from the bullpen, and Ian and I can say this, has been washed a little bit, kind of bounced around. And a lot of off-speed looks for the Reds in their bullpen. On the ground, bounce towards Stewart, and the Reds, tightrope, out of danger. 3 walks. And the Mariners, they only have to settle for the 1 home run for Wilson. 3-1 after 7.
I found ED treatment that helped me rediscover confidence. For me, it's not just about performance, it's about presence. Showing up in my body, in my mind, in the moment. With personalized treatment delivered directly, I can live my life with the confidence that I'll be ready. Because my treatment is made for me. Find your treatment at Hims.com.
Check your socials because there's big news in the sports world. No, it's not a blockbuster trade or a big name free agent signing. The DraftKings Sports app is now available nationwide. So if you're anywhere from Florida to Texas to California, you can get in the game at the speed of sports and feel the sweat in all 50 states.
I mean, John, they got 2 more innings to work with, but I feel like, well, why does that feel like they're nailing the coffin?
It does, the way that this team is working right now, or lack of working. You don't get really any other chances there, and then you have the back end arms. I have to see who the Reds want to go with to close, but yeah, it does feel like it. Can I ask you a stupid question, Ian? I know the recorder's off here, but I would still have it on anyway. What's going on with Tom Brady and one of the polls? Is there something dumb going on with one of them?
So, you know what? So it's Logan Paul, and because he's a part of WWE, I have a feeling that this is a work or something. I don't know what's going on. I mean, look, the only thing I can tell you is that right now TKO is taking WWE and turning it into an even bigger clown show than it already was. I mean, for a while it was okay, but ever since TKO, the same company that owns UFC, got involved, it's just been a mess.
I know you were just talking about WWE, and I mentioned that across those two. What's do you think UFC is starting to fall a little bit, or how is that product working?
Oh, I don't pay attention to it.
Okay.
But it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I get that feeling too. I know we talked about it in our previous game in the break of, the Mariners having their chance to be able to get something going offensively. Maybe missed that one after 3 walks. Weston Wilson home run. It's 3-1. Jose Ferrer is now out of the bullpen, and that is Dan Wilson's first arm that he's used. He has Castillo went 7. Again, he gave up 3 runs. It wasn't a bad outing, but he just didn't get a lot of support. Elly De La Cruz has 3-0 count leverage here, and he will take a pitch on the inside black. A sinker just catches the edge, make it 3-1. I know Elly battling a little bit of a leg injury, but they're still keeping his bat in the lineup. But when he's right, I think he could easily get 60 stolen bases. He's that good. I mean, think about, I don't want to say Ricky Henderson, but when you got that kind of power and speed combination, I really can't think of anyone else. I know he's an infielder in comparison to Ricky in the outfield for the A's, but you got that kind of dynamic ability. You just don't have too many of those type of players. And he's a good switch hitter with a rocket arm. He'll draw a walk. So Elly's had a good day. Sal Stewart has a RBI on a sacrifice fly in the 5th. And this one gets away, and Elly actually stays put. Cal hustled over out of the box to just try to make sure to catch that one. He caught it right away. And Ferrer's pitch inside. He's going to go ahead and check with Cal, make sure they can stay on the same page. This stuff's moving a lot. Cal doesn't want any more of those wild pitches because if Cincinnati gets an extra run, could already be over at 3-1, but get an extra run there, that would be certainly the nail in the coffin. I usually don't want to speak too far ahead in terms of doing play-by-play, but I'm just not getting that feeling that Seattle's going to find a way to wake up. Unless they can get toward Julio Rodriguez, who was lifted for Rayleigh in the 6th and toward the 9th inning, or make something up in the bottom of the 8th. Now the pitch that's thrown over to Naylor is thrown away, and Elly de la Cruz is going to take 2 bases. Unbelievably bad mistake from the Mariners, and a walk turns into a triple. Are you kidding me? So Cal Raleigh able to stop it initially for Ferrer off a wild pitch. Elly doesn't take the extra 90 feet, and then he gets 180 feet on a wild throw over from Ferrer. I mean, that is inexcusable. So infield's got to come in, and Sal Stewart's got another opportunity for a sacrifice fly RBI. I mean, if that's what I am on the bat rack, I'm feeling pretty good. This can make my stats look a lot better, especially when you got somebody like Elly de la Cruz. So we talked about his stolen bases, and that's got to be an error in a couple bases. This is in on the hands. And excuse me, check swing. And wow, that is very fortunate for Ferrer. It was inside on a sinker to the hands. He actually does get Stewart to have to offer at it because he was trying to pretty much stop himself from getting hit on the hands, and that worked out for the M's. So walk to Elly, and Era gets him to third base. Off the miss throw from Ferrer. Now Dane Myers is going to come in for J.J. Bleday, who was playing left field and batting third. Myers play at the plate, and they got Elly. Cincinnati runs into an out. They had a runner on third with no outs. And now Myers is going to get first, but that is bad base running. That was right in off the impact, but to be fair, they try to have that hit and run going, and off of the infield that was pinched in, Emerson got Elly dead to rights, but they really expected Myers to hit that ball harder, and Raleigh gets the tag in, and Cincinnati shoots themselves in the foot. They can't score their easy run from 90 feet. Eugenio Suarez now on an inside sinker, 98. They get 1-0. So Wild, top of the 8th inning. Cincinnati should have had another run. The Mariners were essentially gifting it to them, and they couldn't take it. Now 1-1 on a sinker. This one to the hands. Beautiful placement there. So there's been some tightrope in between that bottom of the 7th and now the top 8th between the Mariners bats and the Reds bats. And it's just been a little bit of a no, you take it type of deal, and nobody wants to get the extra help. 2-1 on a sinker down below. Suarez 1 for 3 with a solo shot in the 4th. Emerson, easy toss over to second, and the Mariners down to their final 6 outs. Reds do not score. They had a golden opportunity there with Elly at third and no outs. Julio Rodriguez going to get things going here. Bottom 8.
Full vibes, your competition. Looking good, Gary.
So to answer your earlier question, I always thought that UFC had fallen off ever since. I mean, truth be told, I don't remember the UFC being any good outside of when Brock Lesnar was there.
Yeah.
Was their champ? I mean, maybe there was a guy named Terrence Crawford, although actually he may have been a boxer.
That's boxing,
So
yeah.
I don't really know.
So I'm only going through the names, Ian, of maybe like the Hall of Famers like Chuck Liddell, Anderson Silva, BJ Penn, like, those kind of guys. Other than that, I really don't care.
Yeah. But when we get to a good break, I'm gonna run something by you to just give you an idea of what state WWE is in and how it's being run, and you'll understand why there's this nonsense going on with Paul and Brady.
Oh boy, the fact that you can even justify that being a better thing than what they're giving you currently kind of tells you how bad it is.
Oh, no. It's not better. It's just a microcosm of the overall picture that is wrestling in that company right now.
Man, oh man. Julian Garcia is the third arm out of the bullpen, fourth arm used today, 2.77 ERA, 13 innings, 13 walks, 7 strikeouts. Julio Rodriguez with a big swing. See if this one's going to be gone. And at the track it is. Left center just over the wall. And it's a 1-run game. Julio Rodriguez with some fireworks in his second at bat off the bench for Luke Raley, and it's 3-2. How big was that run that just wasn't scored for Cincinnati? Would have made it 4-1.
Pretty big now.
It is pretty big now. Trident's up. That's what you got now. And Julio Rodriguez with a glorious shot just barely over the wall. And Garcia, his first at bat of the day, he gives up a tank. And now Victor Robles, this is shallow fly toward right field. And an easy catch is made. So that'll leave it up to Emerson, who's 0 for 3 today. So Julio Rodriguez gets the Mariners within 1. Talking about when is that going to happen? You got a Weston Wilson home run in the 7th. Other than that, they left pretty much the bases loaded with 3 walks. Julio Rodriguez in the 8th to get the Mariners within 1. Again, they need to win this game to go back up a half a game in the AL West. Sweeper is strike 1. So pull this back up in terms of the order for Dan Wilson's squad. It's Colt Emerson in the 8 hole and then Weston Wilson in 9. This is a big swing and a miss on a sweeper, nowhere close in the zone. Make it 0-2. 2 strikeouts and a ground out today for Colt. 194 average, 7 bombs, 21 RBI. Not played a ton of games, does have some home run power, needs to work on that average. Colt Emerson! This one's hit high. The camera shot lost it for a little bit, and this one is foul. He had distance if he could have moved it many, many yards to the left. But that got everybody out of their seats. 0-2. That is running out of challenges for Seattle. They don't have one. Maybe a fraction of an inch off the plate. Make it 1-2. Good take for Colt. 20-year-old is at the bat rack. This is a sweeper. Make it 2-2. It was 0-2. Now it's 2-2. Julio Rodriguez with a home run in the bottom of the 8th started it off. Victor Robles flew out. Toward first. Stewart plays the hop nicely. Jumps up, makes the catch, and then throws it over to Garcia, who steps on the bag. That looked a little bit unconventional, but still nice play for Sal Stewart. That could have gone badly off the hop, but he did reach for it. And they got out Emerson, who slaps his hands in disgust. So one more here for Weston Wilson before we get set to end this bottom 8. He already has a home run in his last plate appearance. And that is called a strike. Seattle can challenge. They still got one. Weston, I don't think, is going to do so. That would have been a ball. 0-1. Get the sign from Jose Trevino. Big swing and a miss on a sweep to make it 0-2. That was a strike on the right side of the rail. He was just out in front. Had the right measure of the bat path, but he couldn't find it. Out in front too early. Garcia just trying to get out of this with one run against his line. Wilson a home run in his last at-bat. Julio's got one. That's why it's 3-2, but the Reds still up by one. Nasty pitch there, but not called. And no more challenges left for Cincinnati. That did graze the zone, but it's called the ball. They don't have one. 1-2. Wilson toward left field, and this is foul. That almost had the distance at 331. But at least 7-8 feet foul. John are with you alongside Ian Genji, starting to get a full room on the X space and alongside YouTube as well. They've been trying to do a good game. It's been tight. Cincinnati should have had a run in the top 8 with Elly de la Cruz. It did not get one. It was a bad error from Ferrer that allowed Elly to get 2 extra bases off of a walk, and then he was hosed at home by Colt Emerson on the drawn-in infield. Inside toward the hands, and Weston Wilson's having himself a nice night. It's now 3-2. Mariners trying to keep it going here in this bottom 8. Full count pitch. Swing and a miss. Garcia does his job. He gives up one, but the Mariners draw within one. It's 3-2. It'll be the last at-bats for Cincinnati here in the 9th. It's 3-2. They got the lead.
All right, Swamp, Red, it's good to see you, fellas.
How you doing? It's good to actually hear somebody doing some Mariner baseball spaces.
Are we on a break? We can speak now?
Yeah, what's going on, gentlemen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt John while he was doing that. I know he's got a YouTube channel and everything, so I didn't want to interrupt.
You're all good, boys. How you doing?
Going good.
I just want to take the time to thank you because I've jumped in a lot of your spaces for the Stanley Cup and all that, and I wasn't able to watch the game, but I was able to listen to you while I was driving to work and stuff. So, man, I appreciate that, man. Y'all did a good job.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. I think in between all of us, between myself, Alec, Ian, Cooper, we try to do the best we can to bring you coverage because we enjoy it. Hopefully at some point it can hit it big. I don't know for all of them, but we like doing that. So I appreciate hearing that.
Yeah, I'm watching.
Feels weird not having the World Cup right now, I got to admit.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Again, I had a chance to work with Alec a little bit as far as calling, and I enjoyed what I saw of it. Again, it's going to take a little bit more for me to become a soccer fan, but I think the World Cup, I'll be able to stick around for that enough and try to work some more with it when it comes around again.
Well, they got the women in 337 days, so.
That's true.
And the women's U.S. team does a lot of winning, so can't complain.
Yeah, you got to be able
This
to.
guy's back.
You got to be able to do that somehow on the men's side. They got to figure out how to get that program going a little bit more, in my opinion.
So, coming up for the Mariners, I just saw this. A name I don't recognize. John, maybe you could give us a little bit of data here. Michael Rucker, not Andres Munoz.
Yeah, this
Rucker's pretty good.
bullpen in between the last couple of years, Ian, you had Casey Lagumina, you had some injuries, and alongside, Trent Thornton no longer there, Gabe Spire, who still injured. They're going to need Rucker to try to get these 3 outs because, again, as you said, it's not a name that they typically would use, but this bullpen has been remade a little bit over the last couple of years because Outside of their starters in Munoz, sometimes it's been hit and miss to say the least. 2-1,
I
and
agree. It's been a little bit shaky here lately.
Well, they've been using that bullpen a lot in the last couple of games. That's why even last night was, they're kind of glad that they took that big lead late in the game because that they didn't have to be forced to go to that bullpen.
well, we talked about the run that wasn't in the eighth with Elly de la Cruz. Nathaniel Lowe with a shot in the left field. And it's now a 4-2 game. He got a hanger of a fastball and paid for it dearly. Reds go back up by 2.
That might be the icing on the cake.
It might be, but like you said, just because you don't have you can't use a Munoz today, this is what you get.
So Marte, Noelvi Marte now, this is a cutter up toward, this would be a can of corn. See who wants it here. This will be caught for Cole Young. So first out in the top 9, but the Reds do get a big add-on run. Jose Trevino, the former Yankee, still batting 7th in this lineup today. 4-2. So again, 3 solo home runs and a sacrifice fly, and then a couple solos for Seattle. So 5 total home runs in this game. The highest runs scored via home run, 57% for Seattle, 50% for the Reds. So 2 of the teams that have depended most of the long ball has shown it today. 1-1 missing a curveball for Trevino and Rucker. So Garcia's line is done for Cincinnati. 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 1 strikeout, and 1 home run allowed. And that curveball got a piece of the home plate umpire. Second time he's been hit today. 3 innings ago, it took 1 off the mask. Trevino 1 for 3 in today's game. We get set here pretty much to close this one out unless the Mariners have some magic in the bottom of the 9th. It's been a well-played game for the most part. Again, the 8th inning got a little bit crazy there for Ferrer, but Elly de la Cruz didn't score. Able to take 2 bases after the walk and then a strikeout on a 4-seamer as Rucker gets Trevino. And I'll leave it up to TJ Friedel. Pitch on the black away at about 98 miles an hour. Nothing wrong with that one. TJ Friedel's walked a couple times today. He's 0 for 1. TJ Friedel with a good swing. It's going to chase Victor Robles to his left. He'll make a nice running catch. That'll leave it up to the Mariners in their last 3 outs. 4-2 as we go bottom 9.
What's the probability percentage that the Mariners win this game?
Looking at what we got right now between Cole Young, Randy Arozarena, and Canzone, I'll say 30%. I'll give them a chance. I do think that they're going to get a run. I think they'll make it interesting.
I agree with that. I agree with that assessment.
Watching them the way I watch them, almost every night. This is the one thing about this team. If you give them a chance, okay, they're going to take that chance and try to make the most out of it.
I like what they got at the top of the order. Rosarena, a couple walks today. Canzone, the same thing. It would be interesting considering the night that Cal Raleigh had the other day. If he's the one that gets a chance to win it for the Mariners in some sort of walk-off situation, that would feel good over the last couple of games. Hopefully percolate him as we get closer to the trade deadline.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, the thing about this team right now, the one guy that the guy who pitched today is the guy that they feel if they need to get somebody, that's where they can go to try to, market to bring that guy. I know I heard the rumor. I don't know how. Like I said, there's a lot of rumors this time of year that they've been trying to see if the availability of Polanco to come back.
I could tell you, watching the Atlanta Braves, I could tell you they're very interested in Castilla.
That'd be interesting to see if he moves because, again, Seattle's still got plenty of starting pitching to use. Ian had already mentioned as well the possibility after Salvador Perez gets the home run that he needs to break the record for the Royals that he could possibly be on the move to Seattle because that would be a position they would need to help give Cal some time. Emilio Pagan, I looked at this numbers, Ian, that's an ERA of over 6. And he's going to get a chance to try to get a save today. So I think that 30%, I might bump that up to 40.
They're sending out Pagan.
Emilio Pagan is going to get a chance to get a save here. 0-2 on the fastball now at 95 on the bottom right rail. That was a strike. Cole Young is due. He's 0 for 4. Again, Cooper and I talked about it a couple of years ago as far as the propensity for this young man and what he means in the future. He's had a good year to be able to start things full time. He needs a big hit right now. I got to get things going off this leadoff. 0-2. This is dead center cut at 96, but this will be a deep fly ball just shy of Noelvi Marte at the warning track. 1 up, 1 down. So Randy Arozarena walked a couple times today. Still about a 276 average. Definitely a threat to take a deep. He's got a 282 today, 2 walks. In some of my notes, a little bit from yesterday, I was getting prepped for this assignment. Try to get one more of these baseball games, I think, this week before the NHL 27 beta. I'm hopeful to get a chance to play this weekend, although EA would slap me in the mouth if I talk about it, but I can do so off the record. 0-1 against Arozarena, and a splitter misses Lowe, make it 1-1. So you've had Mole, Pagan, TJ Antone, and alongside Garcia as Burns went 5 innings, so 4 other bullpen arms used in this game. 1-1 is what Randy is waiting on from Emilio Pagan. This is skied up in the air, but will go back foul, make it 1-2 on a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. That chain for Randy looks a little bit heavy, but he looks pretty good wearing it. Again, he was immaculate in the postseason for the Tampa Bay Rays years and years ago when he kind of made his way into the Major League Baseball. I didn't know how good he was going to be. He's been pretty good for Seattle as well since he's been over here. 1-2. Spiked into the dirt on a cutter, make it 2-2. So Cole Young was the first out in the bottom of the 9th. Still got Dom Canzone. If they could find a way to get someone else on and not into a double play, you'd still have Kel Rowley, and the Naylor had 3 hits in this game. Arozarena waits on the 2-2. This is slammed toward third. Key Brian Hayes comes off the bench as the defensive replacement. I told that to Ian over the last couple of innings if he had the lead, and that's what they're going to do to make sure to have his glove because they're not going to bring anything with the bat. Arozarena will be a ground out, and then leave it up to Dom Canzone. So Eugenio Suarez comes back to the place where he used to play in Seattle and hits a tank. It's part of the reason why Cincinnati's got a 4-2 lead. Canzone will put a fastball straight back. Down to the final out. It's 0-1. Canzone trying to do what he can to get Cal Raleigh to reach. He can get one more base runner that could at least tie the game. Canzone waits on the 0-1. challenged on a splitter, and he was way out front because it was Dom. So he's 0-2. And the Mariners down to their last strike. They lose this game, they're going to fall half game out of the AL West. They're still okay in the wild card in terms of the races, but you wanted to make sure to pick up something in can. Zone flails. That's it. That's your ball game. Pagan goes 1-2-3. The Reds get this victory. They win 4-2, and they bounce back from that heavy loss from yesterday. They take it by a score of 4-2.
Bad case by
Yeah, they need someone to help Cal in a bad way. Because Rev, have you've been watching the game, right?
Yeah.
So you saw that absolutely horrendous at-bat by Cal.
I don't know what's wrong with Cal. Other than the injury that was early on this year, the one thing is that you knew he wasn't going to have the same year like he had last year. That was a career year, but just didn't think that, But the one thing, if anything, pitchers are going to make adjustments when you have these kind of years. But at the same time, and we've talked about that in my spaces and also, that this is just a weird year in baseball because of all the injuries and players not playing to the back of their baseball cards.
There's something to be said for that. And before I close out the space, I know you talk about, Ian mentioned with the help for Cal, but just in general, I think Jerry Dipoto really needs to go out there and try to find another bat or two for Seattle. Would you agree that's what they need the most?
Well, yeah, you do need, there's a lot of talent on this team. And the one thing I keep on going back to is where, you wanted to get that bat, but that bat's actually there if that bat can stay healthy. And that bat is Brian Donovan.
Okay.
That guy has, I thought that was the guy that could put us over the top when we got him this year. But the guy has not been healthy. He basically missed the whole first half. So, you sit there, you get a guy like that, and, you're not getting no use for him because he's been injured all the time.
So, yeah, essentially maybe a little bit of a bounce back if he's back and healthy, and Donovan and Cal maybe kind of wakes up a little bit of a slumber here from the start of the second half, then essentially that could be your trade deadline acquisitions.
Yeah, but it's almost like last year where you brought in Josh and you brought in Gino to be those two extra bats that you needed.
Their lineup, the Mariners lineup from top to bottom, in my opinion, is one of the best. But the problem is you have a lot of injuries right now. You don't really have a backup catcher to complement Raleigh. And if he goes down, then you're really in a position where your catchers in AAA and AA, which Rev, you probably know this because you follow the Mariners, their catchers really aren't that great.
No, they're not. But
so you have to make an adjustment. Like right now, you have Kurgi, you have Wu, you have what's the other kid's name? I'm drawing a blank. He's a younger guy. He pitches. He's in their rotation. Can't think of his name.
Bryce Miller.
Bryce Miller. That's it. Like all those guys, and they got one more guy. I can't think of his name. But all those guys literally can't pitch. And this is no disrespect to Castillo, but he's getting up in age.
Yeah.
And if you notice, he's not their best starter. No. And if you've got teams calling for him, like the Braves, for instance, or even, there's a couple other teams in the AL that are interested. I listened to a podcast the other day where they was talking about it. His name's been brought up a lot, but like you could literally probably get a lot of prospects, a good backup catcher from a team that is actually pretty decent. I mean, sure, you love the guy, but at some point you got to do what's best for your team. Look, I'm going to use the Astros for an example because I live in Houston and that's all they talk about around here. They just got rid of Lance McCullers Jr., a guy who literally probably would die for this city. Love this city that much, but they made a difficult decision to move on from him. And it may take a situation like that where you really like Castilla, but you have to do what's best for your team.
Right.
Right now, the Mariners are probably the best, and Mr. John, you might agree with me on this. Rev, you might agree with me on this. The Mariners right now, honestly, are the best team in the AL West. Once they get it together, they're going to be unstoppable. That's just the way I feel. The Astros, definitely, they're on the back end of their golden years. The Rangers aren't consistent. The Angels are the Angels, and the Athletics, well, they may bounce back. We don't know. But like the Mariners right now could honestly make a move to solidify that division. It's that easy. Like the AL West is horrible.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I would say, I think we would all see maybe in a couple of years, especially if the Athletics, when they get set to Vegas, then we'll see what they can do. I still think in the future they would look good, but for right now, yes, you're right. This is the M's division. They got to find a way to take it.
And I think that, like you said, the thing right now, I know one of the reasons why Castillo is that guy for them right now, is they're running that six-man rotation out right now because basically, like you said, Castillo is of that six-man rotation the weakest link, but he's the guy who is the innings eater for them right now. Okay, so you sit there and go, you know what? I want to run him out there just to keep him in the rotation, and this is the kind of game that you have a Castillo for. Guess what? I don't want to use one of my good guys. I'm going to run out my innings eater and hope that, guess what? We can win a game like this. Okay, tonight's game was a winnable game.
Yeah,
winnable game.
It really was. Yeah,
okay. And you're using a sixth guy in the rotation. When Wu goes, you sit there and go, guys, Wu's in here. He's going to shut down everything, and we're good. But like you said, you still need that one, if you can get that one bat. And that's the thing, where is that one bat at? I think that's the thing for just not the M's, but for a lot of teams right now in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and you made the point about the American League and the way everything is going as far as the wild card. A lot of teams that are kind of just stifling around 500. A lot of teams believe that they can get back into it and make a move. And it's going to be, I think, a hot and heavy buyer's market, honestly. It's going to be a lot to think about in this next week.
I mean, I just...
100% correct. I can't disagree with you, but I will say this much. If there's one guy on that team that you obviously should rely on very heavily and should take care of financially, that's Brian Wu. That's not a guy you let walk. You do whatever it takes to keep that guy.
Agree with you 100%. Gentlemen, I appreciate it. I got to get the heck out of here. Thank you for the post game and the thoughts. Hopefully get a chance to catch up soon. Try to cover another baseball game this week, but we'll talk.
All right, everyone. Good night.
That's your final. Cincinnati wins this one 4-2. It was a well-played game, honestly. They had plenty of chances to win the M's, but still had fun with it nonetheless. It's been a while since we called the game. It's good to get back into it and enjoy it again and feel like you can do pretty good. I appreciate working with the group. Hopefully, we can do it again soon. Try to get another baseball game in at least before the end of the week. Before I got some other particulars going on that I got to take care of toward the end of it as well, because I'm going to be probably MIA for the next week for a few days because of a little bit of not surgery, but I got to go in and get the vertigo fixed, hopefully for good. That's going to take some time, and I might be away for a couple days because I'm just not feeling well after next week. But we're going to try to get one more of these games in and get some baseball going and talk some deadline stuff before that's all done. Take care, guys. Cincinnati wins 4-2. Peace.